Good evening, friends, brothers and sisters, anyone who's watching this evening, and welcome to this presentation by the Purple Mountain, a live collective awakening talk. And it's a real pleasure to be with you all this evening to be doing this talk. We're going to wait a couple of minutes just for everybody to come online. We'd like to just welcome everyone this evening. Hello to Margaret Strong, who's just joined us. She's one of the first to come on. And again, welcome to this collective awakening. And just as we begin this evening, I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction of what will occur this evening. This evening, you're going to hear from 6 speakers altogether, including myself and Stephen, who'll be also hosting this evening. And during this evening, we are all workers of light, but we do our work in many different ways. So we're all coming together collectively, and we'll be speaking in many ways the same truths in different ways. And some speakers may stand out more than others to you. Their truths might resonate with you more, and that's why we bring everybody together this evening. So it's so important. We don't particularly speak off the same hymn sheet. We all do different work in different ways, and that's the beauty of it. It's coming together, and it is a good example, I believe, for what's going on now, or any sort of movement at all spiritually, that you can come together. You can come together and speak and exchange and learn off one another. And that's what we're hoping to do this evening. Now, this is an interactive talk as we're watching it live. If you're not watching it live, we'd like to welcome everybody on YouTube as well. If you're watching on YouTube, we want to say hello to you. We want to say hello to anybody watching in the UK or worldwide, because we know we're going to have people from America this evening and from Canada. All over Europe, wherever you're watching us, we welcome you all. We're so pleased that you're with us this evening. And we just hope that this truth we're going to speak, actually, we don't hope, we know it's going to resonate with you. We know something this evening will resonate with you. So just a quick talk this evening as well is, we're not speaking our truths to say this is what you should follow either. It's inspiration. So we're hoping to illuminate your light within, for you to find your truths. And we'll just talk a little bit about ourselves. Myself and Stephen were the founder members of the Purple Mountain Spiritual Centre, and also it's a health and wellbeing centre based in Fleetwood in the UK. We've been running this centre now for about 7 years. Stephen, would you say 7 years?
Yes.
And we've been on many twists and turns on that road, but particularly fast forward into the last 2 years, we've found ourselves as part of a great awakening within ourselves and conducting some deep healing experiences that we've been very fortunate to be part of. And through these healing experiences, we've been able to learn more about ourselves maybe than ever before and heal some wounds. And so we feel freer to share these truths more than ever now. And we conduct the Purple Mountain. We do many healing treatments. We conduct many retreats. And a huge thing for us in the past 6 months particularly is now beginning to work with plant medicines as a form of removing trauma, pain, and clearing the way for our true spirit to speak. So with that, of course, my name's Chris. And again, I just want to welcome everyone who's joining us to this collective awakening talk this evening. And I'm going to pass over now to Stephen.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for that lovely introduction there. If you do like to visit us at the Purple Mountain, please, it's still open. It's still open to members of the public, and we offer retreats and lots of healing treatments. Our passion is to inspire and to empower everybody that does come to the Purple Mountain. And I'm very, very lucky. I'm also very grateful and also very respectful that I've been brought into this work. And I'm very fortunate that I'm able to work and facilitate this type of work. The people that I've met over these past couple of years have really changed and really empowered me and inspired me. A lot of my thinking and my being and my light, and I think it's an absolutely amazing journey, and I would recommend it to anybody, and I call it an investment because it is an investment to your spirit. Everything else materialistically, physically, is but artificiality. It is but an illusion, and really going right down to the very basic that I'd like to talk about is that we are all a spirit in a physical body. Foremost, we are spirit. We are not a physical body. We use the physical body to experience a physical life here upon this earth. Now, and that's really important to mention because I think there's so much going on in the world today. And I really feel like my aim today is try to look at solutions, because you just have to put the TV on or put the news on and everything seems to be so negative. And there just seems to be everything fear-based and imprinting these fears on humanity, trying to scare everybody to death, literally. So really, our aim is to find solutions, look at things positively. And I think for thousands of years, we've been looking up to politicians, to leaders, to kings, emperors, for these answers. And we were constantly looking at others to make changes to our life. We're not just talking politics here. We're talking about everyday things, education. We're talking about spirituality, religion, things like that. So what I'm trying to tell people is that this time is changing. Our politicians, our leaders and kings and queens, they're not going to make those changes for us, unfortunately. And it's a new time's coming where we need to look within us as individual beings of light to try to tell people that we are powerful beings of light. And I don't think people realize how powerful beings of light we are. We are great creators. Look at all the positive things and the magnificent, beautiful things that humanity's created, not just sort of physically. I'm not talking about creating a wonderful architecture and works of art, but things like poetry and music and spirituality and writings and books. So we know that humanity can create wonderful, beautiful things where we can bring the races. There's only one race, and that's the human race. And you know, we just have to remember that, you know, we don't just belong in one country. The whole world belongs as one. You know, all this division, this divide, it's not going to get us anywhere. We're just going to go backwards. So really, I want to say to people first is that know your power, know your truth, know that you are powerful beings of light. So really, you know, you just have to watch the news, and I keep writing about these things in my writing and talk about it in my spiritual work. We as a people, as an individual, we can say no if we choose to. We have free will. And I don't think people really underestimate the power of free will. We all have a choice. We can all say no. We can all say yes. We can all come together and say, no, we are not putting up with that anymore. I think that's really, really important. And that's what a collective awakening is about. Not only is an individual collective a consciousness, is about a collectiveness, a collective truth. And we're all speaking that truth. And I think what's happening is that as more and more people are waking up to this truth, people are questioning. And people are saying, why are the governments doing this? We can't understand. Because I think people are waking up to this truth more and more. And I think people are bewildered because they say, what's the point of saying anything? Because in a year's time, it's going to be the same again. Well, if you think that, that's what's going to happen. So really, it's about finding solutions. It's about saying, no, we're not putting up with that. You know, we'll call it peaceful marching to say, we're not going to be doing that anymore. And we have the right. And it's funny because people talk about rights. Well, who's given us those rights? You talk about laws and rights, and really it's something extremely sacred. We are powerful beings of light, that we can say no. And I hope that everybody really understands that. We don't just have to put up with things because people tell us that we have to. And even in our little centre, and even in the spiritual movement, there's been a shift and change. A lot of well-known, famous mediums talked about it in the early 90s, who said, you know, churches and centres will eventually go because there will be no need for them. Because a new era of consciousness is being awoken, where we no longer need to seek approval or seek counsel from mediums, from leaders, from politicians, to tell us what we should and shouldn't do and how to lead our lives. And in a way, that has made us spiritually lazy. In a way, we've given up our power, which means as we've given away our power, we say, right, the school education system, for example, they've taken taken over the religious aspect. The church has taken over. So bit by bit, we've given up our free will, which has meant that we've easily been manipulated. So really, I wrote about it a couple of weeks ago. You know, we can't always blame the leaders and politicians. We've all got to be responsible, haven't we, Chris? We are all responsible for the well-being of this earth. I'm responsible. Chris is.
Absolutely, Stephen. I think you made a really good point then. It's something I was considering earlier, and it's once you have submitted, you know, almost you're giving it away and saying, tell me what to do. Tell me where to go. Tell me what I should and shouldn't do. And the truth is that it's been coming to me just constantly this past week and probably the last 2 weeks is you don't need anybody's approval to do anything in truth. So what we've been doing for so long is we've let ourselves become enslaved by submitting and allowing this system that we think is telling us what to do. So and I feel that's very relevant.
Yeah, we're not saying to anybody, you know, go out there and start rioting. And, you know, it is in a way what I call a collective awakening revolution. We need to knock down those old ways. And in order for new things to grow, we have to look hard in the mirror and say, these systems, these institutions, these organizations no longer serve humanity anymore. I mean, my argument is we're talking about parties, your political parties. I think it's an absolute nonsense. There should only be one party which is serving the greater good of all humanity, because they're all part of that power. And I'm not saying this in a judgment way, and I'm not getting into the politics, but politics affect my everyday life, your everyday life. And we don't just have to put up with it. We can stand together. And the greatest fear the powers to be have against us is that when we come together, because when it comes down to it, they fear us being together. And the greatest weapon they have is to divide us. And that's the greatest weapon that they believe that they have against us. So it's about standing together in love. And that's really important. You know, we can't judge. We can't keep going back to the past. That's where wars and battles and destruction. I think the vast majority of people, they want peace. I want peace. I want to live in a time of peace and love where we can all stand together. And I believe a majority of people do as well. You know, I forget what the media says and how they sort of try to instill this particular narrative against the people of society, you know, and it's about knocking down the old ways, because it doesn't serve us anymore. We've got to, you know, I think collectively, as a collective consciousness, we've only gone so far, and there is through this great awakening, we can't regrow unless we break all the old ways, the old systems, the illusions, the distortions.
I think it's been mentioned many times. It's known as what we call with the tarot cards a tower moment.
Yeah,
that's been referred to. You know, the old ways going so that new can be grown.
And I think, sorry, Chris, and I just want to make one more point there now, and I'll pass on to you. Is is when I can relate to people, because I speak to people all the time and they feel so disheartened. And I know we do, me and Chris do a lot of readings and we speak to a lot of people. A lot of people say, we've given up hope. What's the solution? It's the same old, year in, year out. The soul, whoever is in power, whatever and it can be disheartening. And I can assure you, I've been there. I've been depressed. I've been down. But what keeps me going is that I believe in my light, in my truth. And I think this is really important, because we try to instill individuality. Is that the greatest investment anybody can do is in yourself. It's not about being selfish. It's about investing in your health, mental health, and your well-being. You are responsible for you. We have got to stop playing the victim, stop playing the rescuer. We must know our strength, our courage, stand together as a people, as an individual, and make those changes. We can't keep expecting everybody else to make those changes about life, mental health, well-being. I mean, we talk about the COVID just for a second. People talk about how bad the COVID is. I question a lot of the policies, of course. I make no, people can laugh about that. But, I think what's really, really important to mention is, particularly with the COVID, that your health and well-being is important, and no one's talking about it. The narrative, no one's talking about health and well-being, how to look after your immune system, just for an example. We can't, for hundreds of years, we've slowly given up our power and expect doctors and nurses to heal us. That's part of our power. But they're never going to heal us, because nobody can heal us apart from ourselves. And that's why we've got the Purple Mountain. And this is something that we try to guide people with and empower people with and inspire people to take back their power and say, you are responsible for your health and well-being. When you're ill or when you're in a disease state, it's because you've done that to yourself. So when we talk about things like obesity or other kind of big healthcare, smoking, drinking, we've got to look at the mirror, really look in the mirror, because society is getting sicker. People are getting sicker. There's more disease, more viruses, and people aren't asking the right questions. And don't be frightened to ask those questions, to have those conversations, because there's this particular narrative that the media and the politicians try to instill. And the best policy for me personally, it might not be always right, is that I just don't watch it anymore. Don't watch any news. Don't watch any kind of the media, because it's like they pull onto your energy. They suck you into their energy. And I feel liberated, because I feel like it's not in my psyche. It's not in my aura. I know that might not be right or wrong, but I'm going to hand over to Chris, because
that was very very passionately put, and I feel it's very important to not live in a bubble. We're here, we're talking, we're doing this collective awakening this evening to talk about this world and what's happening at the minute. So we're not going to be afraid tonight, although we don't want to get engulfed in politics. Of course we don't. But we're going to be talking about the COVID and what's occurring and how people are feeling. And I feel the big thing is that has been mentioned by a few is questioning. Have we ever questioned why so many people in the world are suffering with depression and anxiety? Have we questioned that? Why collectively are there so many people who are feeling that way? And I believe it's because so many people don't know who they really are. And I feel the future is not churches or places where we go to worship something, or it's places where loving, sacred spaces where we can find our true self, a safe space. And I know that's what myself and Stephen have come to understand. We've not always known this. This is part of our learning, and we're quite proud to say that. You never stop learning. And we've learned that the Purple Mountain, we're not there to rescue anyone. We're not there to give people the big scroll and the answers and say, you made it, there you go. We're there to say, do you know what? This is a safe place and everyone loves you here and you won't be judged and you go through what you need to go through. And I feel that is the future for sanctuaries and for the world. I feel the collective awakening is about realizing we are true beings of light, respecting and loving Mother Earth, all energy, all light, all life forms on the earth, and realizing that everywhere has a place. It's so many times it's like trying to change the course of a river. You can't. So why not just go with the flow and let everything flow together? You know, I feel that's really, really important, and that word truth. And I don't feel many of us realize how powerful we all are. And it is so true. What you think, you become. If you don't think you can do something, chances are you won't. If you think, yeah, there's going to be this, there's going to be a second wave, a third wave, everything's going downhill, we are creating that path.
Yeah.
So, but how do we become hopeful? Well, in my thoughts and words, we become hopeful by, personally, I've done the same as Stephen. I've switched off the news because to me it is a repetitive narrative, and that technique has been used for many, many years.
Since the Roman time.
Yes. And it's to repeat to almost scramble our brains and our minds. And for me, some of the greatest problems we face come from the mind and not the spirit. Our true being finds even the toughest of obstacles effortless. We can find our way through. We can understand that they're there to teach us. What is this teaching us? What are we learning? But I feel we've almost got to unplug from that system that we've allowed to program us, that we allowed to say, tell me what to do, tell me when to eat, tell me what to eat, tell me what to learn at school. And I feel the biggest question moving forward in the collective awakening is not all of us speaking the same words. It's about speaking our truths, first of all, and asking questions. And how many, if you look, what inspires me is, well, really, that connection with spirit initially inspired me. We can have a better world. But certainly over the last 2 years, I have met some beautiful souls on this earth, teachers and guides in their own right, in the living, who've inspired me. And the people I meet, including our 4 speakers tonight and many other people who run spiritual sanctuaries, and not even just in the spiritual movement, and they really inspire me. And I look to them and I think, yeah, this is going on. And the negative side, although it might seem very loud, I don't feel it's the majority in this world. And what is being presented as the majority of people is through that TV screen. And I don't feel it's the majority. I feel the majority are awakening and really feeling. And even the most hardened person in an illusion is starting, the little cracks are coming in and going, do you know what? Something's not right. And it goes deeper than a virus. It goes deeper than a politician. It goes right to the core of our spirit of who are we really? What are we here for? And there's a lot more out there. So so as we've sort of proceed this evening.
Can I just mention something as well there, Chris, just very quickly?
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it would just probably set the tone to our guest speakers tonight. Because I think a lot of people are asking, what is happening in the world today? You know, and it is called a collective awakening. It might seem, everybody, it might seem a scary place. You know, it can be frightening, but don't let the fear in your heart. Don't let your fear in. But all this, what's happening in every part of society, is happening for a reason. You know, please remember that. You know, please remember that everything that we're all going through as a race, as a society, is happening for a reason, to embrace it. Humanity will look back. I know humanity will look back in 1,000 years, in 3,000 years, and they'll look back in this period. And they'll say, the humans then set the stones, the foundations for that change. And Spirit talk all about it. Only the very strong can return at this time, because the past 3,000 years, the vibrations of the earth has been swallowed by negativity, by the dominant masculine energy, by bloodshed, war. I mean, wars have we all been in for the past 2,000-3,000 years, and has it solved the human problem? No. Have we ever tried peace? No. And so my argument is, what's happening in the world is a change of vibrations. And as that's changing, a veil of this negativity, these illusions are lifted. And we've all been puppets, and we're starting to think, what the hell's been going on? And we're questioning things. So we've got to become the beacons of light and hope for people, and to lead by example, shine your light so that can spread. Negativity can spread like cancer, but positivity can spread just as powerful. So become beacons of light, lift your vibrations, because it is hoped that and it will take a couple of thousands of years, but it will be your legacy, our legacy, that we will leave behind, that we made a difference. Okay.
Yeah, I feel that's really important, and it's something I certainly pick on the same as you, Stephen. I feel we'll look back on this time as a tremendous turning point, and I feel like we're doing a lot of heavy work at the minute. Heavy work within ourselves and removing illusions and obstacles. And I actually feel it's the children now, who are young children or babies coming into this world, that are going to be the builders of the new era and the new world. So they've got to be even stronger, even wiser. And I feel that's what our ancestors want. I feel our ancestors in the spirit world are urging us on to break these loops. And when Stephen mentioned about war, I mean, look at some of the wars and the trauma they've caused. And years after they've gone on, the healing that's had to occur on the lands and the people and families' trauma that's been passed through the trauma of war. So it's basically time for a change. It's time for an awakening. Now, change is never easy. Change can be unnerving. We found ourselves in uncharted ground, but I feel as we many change personally or collectively, we have to look and say, what have we got to lose? What's the alternative? So I feel that's really, really important here.
Very powerful stuff there, Chris. And I feel excited. I have my bad days, but I feel so excited. It's a great time, believe it or not, to be on the earth. And I think it's been for the movement, it's been fantastic, because it's brought new growth, new opportunities, an opportunity for humanity to grow and evolve and expand. Don't let anybody grind you down. Don't let the fear, the illusions, the anger, don't react to it. Shine your light, be the light. It's a fantastic time to be here, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, and I feel that you made a very good point there, Stephen. The greatest thing you could do is be an example of. I feel like when you're in your true light, your true happiness, and I've met people like this when I was going through difficult times. You meet them and you go, God, they're so happy. They're so in their own space, and you can just look at them, and their eyes look clear, like they're just clear of any illusion, and that didn't make me envious, but it made me look and I think, what has this person done to clear the way? I feel like I need to do that. So I feel by changing yourself, you give a great example. A little thing I want to add is the old way of telling everybody what to do. You must do this, you must do it. It doesn't work anymore.
Call it the age of the guru, didn't we?
Yeah, it does not work anymore. And I feel in many ways this is where we can look for approval and such, but I feel that time is over now. We all need to find our truths and live by them. Even what you're finding is with some of the controversies at the moment over the virus, and you're finding people sort of having a go at each other for choices they're making, and that's their choices to make. That's their path to walk. And by sort of shouting and screaming at them, do you think that's going to make any difference? That isn't. You're probably going to find when you tell somebody what to do that they're going to do the opposite. It's
not just with the COVID. I think it's that illusion again. It's that judgment, because when we speak, we're only repeating what we already know. We're already judging. Yes. We've got to learn to listen. I think that is the key: is listen, observe, don't react. observe, hold your space. And that's something that I really profoundly learned over these past couple of months, these past couple of years, and it's life's changing stuff.
Yeah, it's really like what's going on now with anybody. Don't allow yourself to get caught in that bubble that any individuals or any collective people are in, because it's not your path, it's not your narrative. You know, you don't have to be part of that story. You're writing your own story, and there's lots of pages, and you can write. You know, there's lots of freedom. We just need to allow ourselves to have it.
And that's what I was saying earlier on. That's what I was saying to you earlier on, Chris. Just what you were saying, that it's okay to say no. Just because 100 people said they're following something, and you're the one person that's thinking different, it's okay to say no, because you're the one that could be right.
Yeah. And I remember many years ago in the first circle, we were invited in, and a lovely soul called Anita, who was very much a guide for us and a trance medium. And she would say in the circle, as we went round, if say there's 10 people in that circle and 9 people all picked up the same thing, and there was one that picked up something different, it doesn't mean that one person is wrong. You know, it's in many ways there's no rights and wrongs, there's only your truth. So this is what it's about this evening, that we're hoping during the course of this evening something's going to illuminate something in you to on your path, on your journey, and that coming together is important. Start to care for one another, knocking down these silly boundaries that have existed for far too long. Too long.
Just want to mention just one more thing before Rick comes on. There is Nelson Mandela. I think it was his quote, and he said that if you want to change the world, use the power of education. And I'm not talking about the narrow-minded education system we've got, and I don't mean to say that in a judgmental way, because you know there's a lot of fantastic teachers out there that do work in that institution. But I'm talking about if you want to educate yourselves, you know, meditate, you know, do your research, question, trust in your knowing, trust in your energies, trust in the power, educate yourself. And that's why I feel people that judge lack education, self-education, you know. And you probably, you know, we've all can relate to this, probably learned more since we've left school than we did in school, because it's experiences that teaches things. Don't just believe something because someone's just written it. And we call it keyboard warriors or keyboard readers, because they just read one thing and they just believe it. And it's dangerous and it's negative. Question. What does your intuition, what does your light tell you? Educate yourselves. And I think that's really important in society as well, because people are just believing one thing and it's just confusing. And truth is not confusing, it's liberating. It's empowering.
Absolutely. Well, very empowering words. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, so now it's time to introduce it would be the third speaker, but our first guest speaker this evening, and he's a very good friend of ours. We've done many interviews and talks, and he was with us last time for our Collective Awakening talk. For me, Rick in his own right is a very inspirational speaker, and he has lots of, you know, inspirations and teachings, and a healer within himself, and he's been on a very interesting journey also. So I know he's going to share that with us. So we're going to introduce Ric Caunce now to the talk.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, Rick.
Everybody well? Oh, it's great to be here, and I've been looking forward to this for a while. And it's always interesting when you kind of tune in and you meditate and you think, well, what I'm going to talk on. And obviously, I've written a few words down, and it's what you two guys have just said is so relevant. So I think this will just follow on extremely nicely. Many years ago, it used to surprise me how these things works, but that's how it should be, isn't it? You know, I mean, just come together exactly right. So
it's that word again, Rick. Effortless. It's effortless.
Absolutely right. That, yeah. So you know, many of you have probably heard me talk before, and the ones who haven't, well, welcome and hi, I'm Rick. I have various different trades in the spiritual field. I'm a Reiki master teacher, I'm a psychic medium, I'm a spiritual coach, and I'm also a Heal Your Life teacher. And through all those different sort of, different trades and traits of spirituality, I've learned a lot over the years, and you begin to put things into place, and you trust your judgment, and you trust what comes through to you as a medium, and Spirit's always there, always guiding us. So I'll just try and pick up a couple of things for following on from what you two just said. I mean, we talked about just briefly there about people sort of getting on the spiritual path, and you hear people saying, I've been on the path for many years, 20 years, 40 years, 4 years, whatever. The truth is, we're already on the spiritual path because we're all spiritual beings. We're already on it. We just need to wake up and realize that we're on it.
Absolutely.
So, getting on the path, waking up, the sudden realization, chance meetings with influential people, they happen to us because somewhere, sometime long ago, we put it into our life plan that at this point, we'll make a choice. And that choice is to wake up at this point in our lifetime.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to believe it's all planned in before we start our journey, before we actually incarnate in this lifetime. It's about choices. And I'd like to talk a little bit about choices tonight. The timing's important now. You talked about people were waking up. There's all this stuff going on in the world, on the planet. And we have chosen to be here because, this time of awakening is very, very important. And we've used right in the title of your talks, this collective awakening. That is one of the most important words that's going to come into our language at this point in time. We have to be collective. We have to work together.
Yeah.
But we've all made this choice to incarnate on this planet right now at this time. Some of you may have heard me talk about, if you heard me talk in the past, about the Golden Motorcycle Gang, which is the story of Jack Canfield. He wrote the famous book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, that some of you might have heard of. And he talks about, in this book, The Golden Motorcycle Gang, about wave after wave of cosmic beings riding down from the universe on these golden motorcycles. Those cosmic beings are reincarnating on Earth right at this time to help humanity wake up. These beings are choosing to reincarnate at this time, to help us, the people who are here now, as humans in human form. They're helping us wake up. And what I've found with various readings and meditations, what my guides have told me, and this might ring true, people might have realized this, they might not, but what I feel is that many tribal elders and shaman from the indigenous races on Earth, we've got the Aboriginals, the Eskimos, the Native Americans from both North and South America, the Buryatis from Siberia, all these old indigenous races, a lot of their wisdom has been kept within those races because they reincarnated back into their own race, back into their own nationality. Now, I've come across several Aboriginal guides over the last few years with different people, and we've always had the American Indians coming in because obviously guides appear as something that we can recognize.
Yeah.
But my belief is that these old souls that hold this wisdom, they're choosing now to reincarnate back onto Earth, back into the Western world to help us with this process.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys have come across that, but 20 years ago, certainly you would never heard of any Aboriginal wisdom or anything from the Eskimos. It was always Native Americans, and obviously we have the Indian continent coming in with like the yoga movement, things like that. So they kept themselves in their own races to keep that wisdom safe until the world was ready. And like I say, I think many of these souls are now choosing to reincarnate back into this Western world to help us. And what a privilege that is. What a privilege for us guys here now to be able to welcome and work with those old souls.
Spot on.
So this waking up, as we've called it, is often called ascension or the shift into the fifth dimension. But I'll talk a little bit more on that in a few minutes. What we have to realize is that we have a choice. We have a choice to wake up, and we need to keep on choosing. And that takes a little bit of practice. You've all seen these sort of gratitude lists where people say that every night before you go to sleep, make a list of 10 things you're grateful for, and it brings more things in for you to be grateful for. But it only works if you do it.
Yeah.
Anything like that, isn't it? We've got to get into the habit of thinking and acting positively. And as you said before, Sim, it's our thoughts that are making the difference. So we have to choose those thoughts. And the more we do of this good practice, the better we get and the more results will be achieved. And I've said before, when I talk about the healer life work, it's no use like reading a book and doing the exercise and not doing the exercises in it. The information is there. We have to learn it, absorb it, and put it into practice. And you've heard me talk several times about the healer life stuff, and you've probably heard me say this before. But if we read that book and we don't do the exercises, it's a bit like buying and reading a book on bodybuilding, and then ringing the author up and saying, "I've read the book, send me the muscles." You've got to do the exercise, you build the muscles, and to get into this lifestyle, to make things happen and things like that, we've got to do the exercises. We've got to live what we've read, what we're learning. We've got to put it into practice. So we need to make this choice to change our habits and behaviors, and we need to welcome in this shift, this ascension process, this huge change that the planet's going through. We need to welcome it. So just recently, I'm just going to take a swig of coffee. You don't mind? My mouth's going dry.
That's fine.
I've got plenty, don't worry. It's all here. Look.
all prepared. You have to be prepared when you're doing these talks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd only stopped in full flow because my mouth's dried up. So just recently, I'm reminded about what are known as the imaginal cells present in a caterpillar. And basically, a caterpillar has its own DNA in its cells, but amongst all that, there's these little cells called the imaginal cells. And these cells are just slowly reproducing in the body of the caterpillar. And their job is to enable the change from the caterpillar to the butterfly. These imaginal cells have the DNA of the butterfly. So as they reproduce and slowly take over, it actually starts to change that process. It awakens that process that changes the caterpillar into the butterfly. Because if you look at the DNA of a caterpillar and the DNA of a butterfly, they'll be different. They'll be similar, but they'll be different because they're different beings. So that change from caterpillar to butterfly will only happen when there's enough of a majority to make a difference. So it's us guys, the spiritually awakened, the light workers, the way showers, the healers, the ones holding the light. We are the imaginal cells of humanity. And when there's enough of us awakened, we'll tip the balance. And we will cause a change that will enable the rest of humanity, the ones who are still asleep, to wake up and enable that shift to happen. It won't happen to all of us, because there'll be some of us who can't cope. Some of us who won't want to change. You mentioned change before, I think one of you, didn't you?
Yeah.
And sometimes people's ego holds them back and tries to keep them safe, and that's their choice. But we have that choice to take action and bring about that much needed change. If you think about it, we're all just little specks of light in the universe, little sparks of love and energy. On our own, perhaps we're quite insignificant, but just imagine what would happen if all 7 billion of those sparks started to light up and shine brightly.
Yeah.
Quite a thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Goosebumps now. So we've got this choice to make. We can't just sit back and let things happen. We need to know, we need to take, what is known as inspired action. You just think about it for a minute. On a summer's day, we've all seen the sunlight streaming through the windows, haven't we? Okay.
Yeah.
And that sunlight, which can be likened to universal love, it doesn't come streaming through that window because we want it to. It comes streaming in to warm us and fill us with joy because we got up and opened the damn curtain You know, we took action. It's there. The sunlight's coming through. It can come through to all of us, but we have to take the action to open up the curtains and let the sunlight in. And, you know, that analogy for sunlight can just be universal love. It could be healing energy. But we've got to take the action to enable the change. And the other thing, you know, how many times have we read a book and that little bit of advice, it might just be one sentence, blows us away.
Yeah.
We hear a little bit of information from a teacher, from a medium, or just out of the blue, and you think, wow, that's life-changing. It'll do me good to take notice of that. And it changes our outlook. It changes the way we think, that one little bit of information. And then, of course, we think we're a little bit more spiritual, could have got a little extra bit of knowledge, don't we? You know, so the ego kicks in again.
Yeah.
We might even feel a little bit more superior because we felt we've learned something. But it doesn't last long, does it? You know, we take on board that little bit of advice, that important information, but we don't take action. 2 hours later, 2 days later, we've forgotten about it and we just let our lives go back to normal. We've got to change that routine. You know, we can't just carry on what we've always been doing because we'll always get what we've always got. You've got to change the action and we've got to make those necessary changes to get some results.
Absolutely.
Now, they do say it takes about 3 weeks to change your habit. So it's not that long. It's not that much effort to put in to change these habits, to watch our thoughts and to welcome that sunlight in.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'd like to just read a quote out actually from Barbara DeAngelis from her book Soul Shifts. Everybody's familiar with that book. So I'll just read out what she's written. Waking up is for the brave. Becoming a seer and not just a seeker is not for the faint of heart. It is for the visionaries, the awakeners, the soul shifters. It is for you. There are pivotal moments in the lives of all seekers when we realize we've been traveling on our path of growth towards happiness and fulfillment, but simply put, we want to go faster. We know we're being called to something more significant and expanded. We can feel it. At these times, what's needed is not simply more change or an adjustment to our outer life, but profound transformation. For transformation to be real and lasting, it must originate from the inside out. We've got to look inside ourselves. The answers are there. We've spoken about that earlier on. In other words, we need to choose to awaken. We need to choose to take inspired action. And I think it's so relevant in these times. How many of us get on the path, so to speak? We learn about healing. We spend a fortune on crystals. We train in this. We train in that. You read about anything that resembles any form of esoteric teachings. We all start off by being seekers. We really need to stop seeking, stand back and then take a good long look at life and at ourselves. And only then, after a long introspection, looking deep within us, do we realize that somewhere along the way we cross the threshold. We begin to understand the universe a little bit better. We begin to see how things are. We begin to see and feel the truth. We realize that all the material stuff we collected is just accessories and peripherals. Whilst there's a vast importance to the power of crystals and Reiki, spiritual healing, mediumship, psychic intuition, all extremely important, but we don't actually need it to become spiritually and collectively awake. We just need to make that choice. Yes, it helps us. It helps us understand things. As you said, we read the books, we educate ourselves, but we don't actually need it all to become awake. We need to become seers and not seekers. We need to see the truth instead of seeking the truth. Now, I like to remind myself about this with a little quip, a little play on the spelling of the two words. And it's that little syllable, k, seeing, not seeking. So my advice is just get the k out of it. Okay.
I thought, what did he just say then?
So once we realise that we're already spiritual beings on a journey and that all life on this planet is connected, we start to see rather than seek. And then we also start to realise that if we all woke up, if we all cared for the planet, cared about healing each other, but most of all cared about healing ourselves, that is when the real shift to awakening will happen. We have the opportunity right now to accelerate our progress, but we have to be willing, and we have to be dedicated to our own development. Like I said earlier, just imagine if all 7 billion of the planet, 7 billion people on this planet started to take positive action, started to bring love to the planet. How fantastic will the world become? So I just want to explain a little bit about how I see the process. Now, obviously, other viewpoints are available. Put the BBC on at 10 o'clock and see the lies at 10. We'll you know. So I often get asked about 3D and 5D, things like that. And I think it just needs a little bit of clarification. I think a lot of people think it's about something that looks like a Rubik's Cube, but with more sides, you know, and it's not. As I've said before in some of my talks, you know, the quickest route between a human and the truth is a story. And more often, it's a metaphor or an analogy that explains things most easily. So to explain ascension and collective awakening, we need to explain the dimensions. So if you allow me, I'll just put my viewpoint across of what I think the dimensions are.
Please do.
First of all, it's a dimension. 5D is not a location. We do not actually physically go somewhere. So I find it easy to think about these dimensions as levels. Most of you will remember learning about musical scales at some point in your life, just like we have on a piano. We have the very low notes at the bottom end of the scale and the increasing tone right up the top of the scale. So in our imaginations, let's turn this piano on its side so that it's vertical. We have the low notes at the bottom and the high notes at the top. And if we change those notes to vibrations, we begin to get this little picture building up of these dimensions. Just as Einstein discovered that matter vibrates at different frequencies, let's talk about this vertical scale in terms of vibrational frequency. And then just to add another little layer on that to help explain it, let's imagine that scale, like the piano turned on its side, is actually a department store with a lift that goes up and down between the floors. So deep down in the basement, we have the really low notes, and this is where the energy is really slow, very, very dense energy. So all the atoms are sat around on couches, not really moving around, not interested in anything. You know, a bit like the vultures on the Jungle Book. Yeah, what do you want to do today? I don't know. What do you want to do today?
Yeah.
You know, and so the energy is very slow, very dense down there in the basement. And, you know, it's just not a good place to be. But as we go up each level, things start to speed up a bit and everything starts to move a little bit faster, just like atoms will do as the frequency of matter changes. So we take the lift from the basement, and maybe the first floor I get out in is homewares. Not very excited, but some might be interested in taking a look around. So we'll get in the lift again and go up another level. It might be menswear, so some of us might be interested in that. And the vibration might increase a little bit. We'll go up to the next level, and it might be ladies' wear on that floor. And so more people get interested, depending on who's in the lift, obviously. But what happens then if we think we're here then about this top level, this higher level, where, you know, there's might be a party going on, there's refreshments, a restaurant, there might be a toy section, a bar, you know, anything there, and that the energy is going to be more exciting. It's going to be buzzing. So each of these levels are a different rate of vibration, and each level higher than the previous one. I'm just hope that might explain about the dimensions and how we think, you know, how we think about it. Because, you know, as on the scale on the piano, we're going up and up and up in vibration. And that, I think, is where we are in these levels. And ascension is the lift. So we need to take action to get in the lift and ascend to another level. So we've been living in this third dimension for thousands of years, maybe more than that. But right now, since around about 2012, the Earth has started to move into a different part of the universe, one that has a higher vibration, with a lot of energy flowing through it. And this is affecting us. things are starting to speed up. The vibration of the earth is starting to change. And this is where we're going to head in the next few decades. But right now, what we've actually entered, what they call in the fourth dimension. Now, that is a sort of bridge between 3D and 5D, in my opinion. It's a bit like a service station where we can stop and rest on the journey and get ready and fill up with fuel again and get ready for that journey. And just like starting out on a journey in a car, you know, we can start off and go on the A roads and we're just toddling along and we're moving through traffic, things like that. But once we get on the motorway, we can really get going and really go places. Yeah. And that, to me, is the difference between third and fifth dimension. Is, you know, we're going to get going. We're going to go places a lot faster. Life is going to speed up. And, you know, we don't feel like we've made a lot of progress in the third dimension because we've all been stuck. We had fixed ideas about the world. We had fixed time, definite opposites, you know, rights and wrongs. And we had the laws you were talking about earlier on. And, you know, the energy was dense. So in the fourth dimension, I feel like we're going to experience a lighter energy. We'll find time speeding up as we prepare to enter the fifth. You know, and where this is leading us, where this time speeding up is the old concept of time is actually going to crumble and break and disintegrate. Because where we're heading is the fact we will naturally be living right now in the present moment. As we get into that dimension, we're going to live more and more in the now. And the past and future will still be there, but they'll just be like indicators of where we've been and where we're going, so to speak. Right now, and in the past, let's say, in the third dimension, everything was based on history and future. We were planning for the future based on what happened in the past. And I think all this is going to disintegrate. I don't know if anybody else has felt that time is going to run away with us. Just recently, the weeks have been flying past. You know,
yes, very much.
I've been on journeys sometimes and I left 10 minutes later than normal, still got there on time. You know, we seem to be able to stretch it. And it's our concept because time is actually man-made. It's not universal. It's man-made. Yeah. Same as a calendar. It's there to control us and things like that. So once we get our head around, time isn't linear. You know, we'll get our heads around things a lot easier. You know, so that old concept of time will crumble away and we will start to experience life in the present moment. And if you look back, all the esoteric teachings from the last 1,000, 2,000 years are preparing us for this period of time. And humanity has lived through this before, many thousands of years ago, because in Atlantis and Lemuria, we had what you talked about earlier on about central government that was just for the one nation, you know, but it was there. We had energy. We had things powered by crystals. We exchanged trade and things like that. There was no war. There was none of all the stuff that's going on. And as you said, that many wars and peace has never been achieved yet. We had peace in Atlantis. And this is where we're heading again, into that time, into that fifth dimension. And
that's what I believe too.
It will be a hell of a change for us. And we just have to get used to it because it's coming. And unfortunately, back in those ancient civilizations, mankind's greed and ego took over and we actually descended back into the third D. So one thing I think we have to make sure, and we talked about the children coming in and, you know, these beings coming in, these waves of cosmic beings coming to help us. We need to make sure the whole of us, the collective, everybody now, that it won't happen again, that once we get into that fifth, we have to stay there. We have to learn our lessons.
Yeah, we have to learn that lesson. Just a quick question, Rick.
Yeah.
If that's all right. I just wanted to ask you, it's something that we've experienced. Do you feel there's a more of a sense of urgency than ever for this self-healing and awakening at the moment? Because that's what we're feeling. Certainly a lot of, you know, the times now. Come on, if there's ever a time to make that choice, it's now.
Yes.
I don't know if you've sensed that yourself.
I tend to agree with that. But just nipping back to what I said about we're starting our journey on the A roads, and then we get onto the motorways and we start going, you know, if everybody's going the same speed on the motorway, and then there's a sense of urgency, isn't there? Everything is going faster. So the faster you go, the more urgent things become anyway. I think definitely it's speeding up.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, you know, say you're weighing jelly beans out in the sweet shop, and you put a few on the scales, and it just moves slowly. You put a few more. But if you sit the whole bag on, the scale's going to shoot up, aren't they? That's urgent.
Very true. Very
The more
true.
and more of us awake, the more and more of us who start to consciously and choose to awaken and move towards that shift, then it will feel like it's getting urgent. It will feel like everything's speeding up. And well, to me, 5D is all about unconditional love. It's about cooperation, collaboration, all being equal, no prejudice. Haven't we all dreamed about this world? Isn't it one that we'd all love to belong to?
Yeah.
Well, it's on its way.
I feel that's something important, that something that we might see as a dream is possible. It is entirely possible.
Right. But I'll just jump ahead a little bit, actually, because you just mentioned that, we see it as a dream. Have we dreamt this, or is it a premonition? Or
absolutely,
is it a memory of something we had before as a consciousness? Is it something that's coming back to us? It could be either, it could be all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's definitely on its way, and we'll leave behind poverty and discrimination. We will leave behind the ruling elite, because they won't destroy us, because as we join together, we become stronger. As you said earlier, one of you said about, they're trying to divide us. Yeah, absolutely, damn right they are. And we won't have it. And the only way we're going to win is with positivity.
Yes.
And, we've got to enter this dimension of love. And this is the world we dreamed of, the memory, whatever it is. Maybe it's something we planned many, many, many thousand years ago. So for the time being, we just got to kind of adjust to these changes while we go through this fourth dimension. I think this period might only last 10 or 20 years, this fourth dimension, and then we'll really start speeding up. And then who knows how long it's going to take, because exponentially, the more you speed up, the faster you get there, don't you? You know what I mean? It just keeps coming in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We might find ourselves asking, what can we do to bring this shift a bit quicker? What can we do to bring it towards us? Well, that takes us back to the beginning. We have to choose to take action rather than just wait for it to happen. We have to make those little changes and break the old habits. So let's all be the brave ones and start to choose to wake up. Let's be those imaginal selves and tip the balance. If each of us can shine our own lights and show the way for others, if we can get just a few more people to start to shine their light, then that lighting up of 7 billion sparks may well be a possibility.
Absolutely. Here.
There's a saying which goes something like this: many people want change in their lives, but not many actually want to change.
Very I like true. That very much. I think that
their ego keeps us stuck and safe. But again, that's a subject for another time, isn't it? As Gandhi said, we need to be the change we want to see in the world.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for listening. I appreciate the time you've given me. And any questions, just bring them in.
I just thank you so much for your words, Rick. And as just a lot of teachings there, and the information, the way it's been brought across, I feel certainly brought a lot of understanding to me as you were talking. And it's truth. Whenever truth is spoke, whatever language or way it's spoken, it will resonate. And for me, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel energized listening to truth.
Yes.
So thank you very much for being part of it this evening. I know you're going to stay on with us.
What they also, just about truth is everybody's truth is different. It might be the truth, but everybody sees it differently. If you imagine three people sat in a room, all looking at a globe of the world, they'll all tell you it's the world, but they all see something different.
Absolutely.
And it is the world. And each of their viewpoints is correct and true, but they all see it differently. One will see Africa, one will see Europe, and one will see Australia or whatever. But it's all the world, so it's all true. It's just their version of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll leave it with you. Other people need to talk.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. So absolute pleasure as always. And I know you're going to stay with us and contribute to the rest of the evening, which we're really grateful for. Thank you very much. So Okay, friends, we hope you're enjoying everything so far, and thank you for everybody that's joining us. And we're going to continue on now and introduce our next speaker this evening. And this lady is quite new to us, a new connection, but I'm sure our souls have been connected for far longer than that. She's based in Spain. And I made a connection with her just about a week ago, and we've exchanged some lovely voicemail messages. And a really lovely connection. So I'll just give her a warm welcome. And this is Marta.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Welcome,
Hi,
Marta.
Hi.
Thank you for being here with us this evening.
Thanks to all of you. You carry so much truth, and I enjoy a lot too. I can see the beauty in your beings. This is just fantastic. Everything of what you have been sharing is it makes part of my own reality and of my own truth. So as you say, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter where we are from where we are coming from. It doesn't matter our culture, our country. This is because we are one, and it is happening, and it is an example of that this higher truth in fact exists through this developing of the truth of every single one of us, doing things that are maybe not that much similar, or some of them similar, and at the same time we are just getting the same information, the same basics, exactly the same basics, and it is everywhere. I'm a person that I am connected with a lot of people all over the world. Also, I have my own sessions. I'm also psychic, and medium. You say spiritual medium, that's okay for me. Whatever. I have sometimes I have troubles to find how to name who I am, because I am a lot of things. And so it works great for me. Medium, spiritual medium is okay. I'm working with that too. I'm a lot of things. I'm a mother. First of all, I'm a mama, and I'm a doula also, which is for the ones that don't know what that means. It's a figure that we had to catch up back again to hold space properly with other women that are pregnant or about to give birth, and also after birthing. Why? It has to do with what we are doing here now, because we have to gain back the figure of the most human person that can accompany you while you are in such a precious moment of your life of giving birth. It's like dying and birthing. The mother is dying and rebirthing in a mother, and the baby is coming from source. The baby is coming from source, and it has been two forces that call this being, and through the body of the mother, the spirit can become matter. So this is something really powerful, and it happens in the life of every single one of us. If you're not giving birth, you birth yourself. So anyway, and and one of the biggest distortions, because distortions, there are a lot of them. One of the biggest distortions, it has been one of the biggest distortions in order to keep the control, in order to keep the distortion, in order to keep to the fighting instead of to keep love within our essence. It was to separate the baby from the mother as soon as he born. So I don't want to go so deep in that, because this is a subject is super interesting, but it may be. But the thing is that long time ago that there's nobody, not even the mother, that is owning her own power to give birth. This can connect super well with to gain our own power, and with the thing of you know exactly what you have to do in order to heal yourself. It's the same with the mother giving birth. Is the same. We know exactly what to do in order to give birth safely, and you don't need anybody around you. You don't need like a doctor that never gave birth, for instance. So yeah, this birthing stuff, I make question to talk about that, because this is important, because this is the first time in your life when you're born from your mother that they are taking your power from you. So we used to be born ethologically. We have to born, and our mother have to hold us at least for the 2 first hours of life, because it happens something in the mother body and in the baby body that is not going to happen never ever back again, only in those 2 hours. And this is what is happening is a cocktail of love hormones. Yeah, that is gonna give to this being that just came from source, to the being with the most incredible, big, infinite amount of strength and love and confidence, and this self-confidence that everything is okay. I am still in source. My mother is with me. I am still in source. I have all my power with me. I am maybe baby will like kind of crawl, but move a little bit to find the breast, to find the plug to the source back again. So for you to understand everything so important. And we have been taking our power out of ourselves from time zero of the time zero that we decide to write here. Okay, so as we all know, we decide to come here to this third dimension, which I don't feel that this third dimension is something like restricted or something that is dense, or no. Third dimension is a fantastic place where to be. Everybody wants to be in that third dimension. All our non-physical beings, family of us, they all want to be also in this into this experience. One of the things that I find the most not only important, but is unique. This place is unique. One of the things that are unique of this place is that you only from third dimension you can visit the other dimensions. So if you are if you are not incarnated and you are living is a way to say, and you are kind of, let's say, standing in 7th dimension or 5th dimension, you cannot experience third dimension or other dimension than the one that you are experiencing. But when we come here, we can experience transversally all the dimensions if you have been in those dimensions before, of course. And this is another subject that is completely interesting. Yeah, to dive into this. Guys, I ask you, what do you want me to talk about? Because we can talk about a lot of such an interesting things. Medicine plant, when you are working with medicine plant, with plants of power and plants of vision, of course you can receive a bunch of information that this is for you. But one of the things that at least the plant of power ayahuasca can do with you is to take you to visit and to do work in different dimensions.
Yeah.
So when you were talking, Rick, you were talking about the fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is not a bridge in between third and fifth. It is a quite tricky dimension, the fourth, because it's that. But we can here in this third dimension. I'm pretty sure that you, at least you three, you already experienced it. I know Louis experienced it. I'm pretty sure that the other sister experienced it also. And fourth dimension is this dimension where there is no time and space, and you think it, you live it. It's not that you materialize it in physical, but you live it. You live it through emotions. So it isn't in the same line, because we are more and more aware of transitioning the dimensions. So as Rick also say, it's about to gain weight to become something else. It's the myth of the butterfly. It's about to gain weight so maybe, I mean, I'm connecting completely with this, that it is coming already. This that you think it, you have it. If it's for good or not for good, whatever. So it's so good for us. It's so good for us to be present. Also because the presence is bringing us the connection to our true self. It doesn't matter in let's say the level of spiritual development you have, is all the time is the same. The only thing is that you go or deeper. It doesn't matter how you want to call it. You can go deeper, or you can also go. I can see like we are going, like moving in a spiral. That is a ascendant spiral. Yeah, you have the same sense. So we are like transitioning from around the same places, like the subjects in our lives, and once again, and every time is like you feel that you gain perspective, and that you gain achievement. And I also wanted to say about those times, now that I'm saying about perspective. Those are so precious times. It's so funny. It's so, well, I'm saying funny. I know that, it's hard. It's hard for the ones that we are doing the work day by day, doing this practice, right, Rick? Those practices every day. Sometimes it is hard. But it's going always in this movement of expansion, action, as Rick say, action. Now it's time for action. It is expansion, because I'm feeling it's kind of the divine masculine energy.
Yeah.
Pick up something from the divine feminine energy, something so super interesting. And it's true to the masculine. energy. And now this energy together with the feminine, there is a unity. I'm feeling it now. Really wants to expand, to be visible. Really needs that. We are setting the foundations. This is 100%.
Yeah.
Sure, foundations, but foundations for the next humanity. I don't know if I am saying it right in English, but it's not for this humanity. It's not only for us. It is for the next, the next turn of evolution. Because what we are seeing now is what we are calling this inner guru in us. What we are seeing now is this ability sitting in humanity, okay? It's sitting in humanity for the next humanity to develop. But we are developing it. The seed is that we are now receiving the information more than ever, straight to us, directly straight to us. So we are the hero. Now we can see that we are truly the hero of our story. And this is so good for people and for you, for people in general. When you get lost, remember always, in those times, it's so good to remember you are the hero of your own story. Yeah. Just, to talk from the basics for people. The thing is that what you will know, if you don't know yet, is that this hero is Christ in you. This hero is the goddess in you. This hero is whatever God, whatever entity, and all those entities together. As soon as you call them, you are them. You have them inside. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I want to say something. Also, I think was Ric that was saying something so cool. I mean, because it's true. And so you were talking about the ancient cultures, right? Like you talk about the American, indigens from indigents.
Yeah, that's right.
Indigenous, yeah, but it's different meaning in English. Yeah. How is it? I mean, the Indians from America, for instance, and that you say that they are incarnating in Western cultures.
Yeah.
So, because I was. Now you like me. This is something that I knew it, but you say it and I say, okay, that's it. And it is because, I'm not going to say that I born from an African culture. Okay. It's not that exactly, but it is interesting in my life. I've been called to, I didn't been called even. It came to me a lot of information about Black people, African people, which they are coming from Lemurian, right? Their race is a race that is coming from Lemurian times, which is another humanity, two humanities ahead of this one, and they are old souls. African people are bringing something that we are needing so much. Yeah. Which is the at least what is coming through me. It is the forces of the nature.
Yes.
And what forces of the nature have to do with us?
Absolutely.
And how we can deal with those forces inside of us, and to make magic happen. Co-creating with the mother. Okay, I call mother because it's feminine energy. I call her divine mother. For me, source is kind of that. it's a mixture. I know that, but and Mother Earth, what you are calling Mother Earth, for me is Mother Earth, but I don't call her Mother Earth. I call her Pachamama. It's okay. Everything.
Pachamama, okay.
Yeah.
But you know why? You know why, brothers? Because Pachamama or Tonantzin or even Mother Earth is not Earth only. It is the skies, and it's the sun that we see, and it's the moon that we see, and it's the stars and the wind, and it's the clouds, and every single natural force. So orishas, the forces of the nature, they call orishas, we call gods, but it's not the translation literal. The literal translation for orishas is force of the nature. So they've caught me, they found me. I was not in that. I went to live to Brazil for other reasons, and also because I went for my spiritual reasons also. Always I was searching for love and truth. So what I saw was them, was the orishas, but I didn't went to candomblé ritual or church, or no, I didn't went to meet them. They meet me through the ceremonies that I was doing with other lines, other spiritual lines. So powerful. Yeah. So this is something that I know that I'm carrying, and I'm transmitting those, the orishas, how we can connect practically, which is so super important, as Rick say, to make practice is so important. It's so important. First of all, to get rid of the addiction. Mm-hmm. To get rid of the addiction of the distortion, because this is Panky. This is quite heavy. It's quite heavy. If you dive and you let yourself go into those energies, wow. Yeah. For me, it's enough, because I've been a lot. So it's heavy. It's the distortion is cruel. It has been cruel for decades and decades. For everybody, men and women, disaster. That everything is in the right place. When you go to the source with the mother, you feel that. For the mother, for her, for the divine, the divine mother, the cosmic one, the good and the bad, the ugly and the beauty, the bad moments and the good moments, the go with the law or go against the law. For her, in her arms, she holds everything with a smile in her face and give more to me. It doesn't matter. Everything is on me, because everything is on me, in fact. And what you can see straight and what you cannot see straight, also, she's taking it. She's taking all those faces, also all those informations that like quantum informations, that one day they give you one face and another day they give you the other face for you to understand something bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the magic, quantum magic of the mother. Is so, for that we must pay attention. From level 0, it doesn't matter. It's just about to pay attention, because to dissolve addiction to think, old patterns and of thinking, because this society, but we are here for that in those times that are so special, and we are so special. Every single one of us that we are here together, of the whole group community, we are so special. We are coming from the future. It's not future as we can think it linearly, but we are beings that are coming from the future. So we are not dreaming it, Rick. We are not dreaming it. We are we are. It seems that we are dreaming it because of the process that we have to have in this third dimension. But this is another thing. But it seems like, but in fact, we are remembering. We are remembering why we came here for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in those times, we must do this. Thank you very much, Purple Mountain, you too, because it's about this civilization. Now we have to visualize, to give vision, to give visibility. That's it. This is the good way of educate now. And it's not only because we already have kids, and they already came being the new kids of the new earth already. And we are here to keep them, just to keep them, to be the guardians of those lights that are coming here with everything on. Most of them, they don't need to pass through all this distortion, toxicity, suffering, and cruelty that the most of us pass through. So it is for us to be in the right place to hold space for those babies that are burning or that are growing up now, but also for our brothers and sisters, the same thing of what our guides, which are brothers and sisters of ours, not physical. Same is in between us. We are family.
Yeah.
We are the same guides, but here in this 3D experience, which is wow. Yeah. Yeah, it is wow. So I could say billion things, but I think it's okay, right?
Yeah, it's just, thank you so much for, there's so much that I think is so important of what you spoke about in that truth. And I'm so pleased you brought about the birth as well, because I feel it follows on from what Rick said earlier about the spiritual path. We feel we're on this path at a certain point in our life, and let's go back to that birth when we were born, the beginning of this life. And I feel the other thing to pick up on there that you mentioned when you were talking about the ayahuasca experience in this life is so many limitations that in this life that really don't exist. And I feel during the ayahuasca process, what I've experienced is it takes away all them limitations we place on ourselves and that we feel that they're not really there.
Exactly.
So I feel, and I just want to mention something, Marta, I hope you don't mind, that in a previous interview you did with Lewis, it was a talk early on when this all began in March, I believe it was, and you commented about what's going on in the world, like a giant ayahuasca ceremony at once.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if you remember that, but it resonated with me so much. I thought, yeah, it is.
Sorry, I don't know who say that, because I say that also somewhere.
We're purging. We're all purging at the moment. We're purging all this toxicity, the illusion, the delusions. We're all throwing it up, getting rid of it, cleansing ourselves, and
absolutely. We went to dive deep. We went to the mother. The mother was saying, now it's my time for some of the ones around there that didn't see me or feel me just yet. They are going to see me, because it is not going to be another way but to go inwards.
Yes.
They are not going to be able to go outside. They are not going to be able to do this super happy, joyful, masculine stuff of enjoying outside around there. Yeah, it's beautiful. But it was time to go inwards. And now it's a little bit different time, but still in the same ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, and it's gonna come. I have the feeling that it's gonna come more and more, and we are gonna get in bigger and bigger and more visible. This is the feeling that I'm having. And also, there is something that I don't know if you guys are feeling the same thing, but I'm getting that right now. We have been called also to take a look with perspective, like 10 years ago, or 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, or maybe more. And now, like 8 years is coming to me, like around 8 years, 10. So now, just, for every one of us, take a moment and think of you 10 years before, and realize that most of the dreams that you have, that you wanted to become reality, now they are becoming reality, or they became reality. And this bunch of fears that you had to overcome, they are not there anymore. So it's a moment of realization. In fact, it's a moment of developing. It's a moment of action. But, it's becoming a moment of action. So for us, it has to be always action in between, expansion and coming in, expansion and coming in. But now, I have the same feeling about those moments.
So much. Stephen, I don't know if you've got any questions or comments. Just
no, the only thing that I really picked up on it, which I'm quite passionate about these past few years, is how you talked it with the motherhood and the divine feminine, and it's not something because you're a woman that the divine feminine's within the divine feminine's within all of us, even if we are male born. There's the feminine, the masculine, and it's rebalancing, and you can see it in the world, and it's lovely to see.
Yes.
And, so that was my observation when you talked about the feminine and the masculine, that we are gods and goddesses. We're beautiful beings of light, and we shouldn't be ashamed of that.
Exactly. Another thing that the other day, I say that to a friend of mine in front of the school of my kids, and she was not even plugged into spirituality or whatever. And she's a friend of mine. She's gay, and I say to her, because we can talk, even though she's not in totally my truth, but she's. So I say to her, and I'm finding sense on that we are in a times that we are getting out of, meaning the spiritual community and other things that have been other aspects of the spiritual community that have been demonized. Now it's time. What I'm seeing is time to go out of the closet. This is the feeling that I'm having, to go out of the closet for the ones that really felt that they were special. They came here for something else, and now I'm seeing how people are like, boom, showing up, coming out. Gatherings are happening. We are talking without restrictions here. Me personally, I'm talking without restrictions. And this is a huge advance for me, because I couldn't be able to do that before because of the pressure and the restrictions and the you are crazy, or because I'd be burned in another life. Because I tell my truth, and I am completely afraid of talk about my truth. So now I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it. I know this has, this never stops. But those moments are really, really moments of, like we said, let's take action. It's like, yeah, there are moments of let's go out there and let's make our own party, which is the party of unity. It is the party of becoming one with the energies of the nature. I'm talking about tsunamis, becoming one with this force inside of you. We can do whatever we want. Anyway, we are doing it. See, we are not conscious. We are creating our realities.
Yeah.
This COVID can be as worst as you want, or as happy, interesting as you want. I'm seeing positive things. I mean, I have my opinion about the situation, but I'm seeing positive things even in the school of my kids. I'm seeing kids are going outside. They're wearing masks and those things, but they are taking kids outside of the classroom. We have this sun here, everyday sun, and they were not even thinking that kids could be nice to take them outside to the sun to be fulfilled of the energy of the sun, to be happy and to be just ready to receive information, to receive whatever that they must learn. And now they are doing it. So it is up to you, that your reality, it depends. This, I can see it so clear now, that your reality is just up to you, to us. We can create whatever. As you say in the beginning, we are creators. We can create the amount of money that we want in our bank account if we want. The only thing is that we must to balance well, and to know well how it works in between the masculine and the feminine, which is
Yeah,
it is not easy, but it is easy when you practice it. It is easy. It becomes like, who said, without effort, effortlessly. Yeah, it is.
Oh, lovely.
I don't want to take more time from us.
Oh no, it's beautiful words. Thank you. I just wonder, Rick, if there's any comments you'd like to make or anything you'd like to add just before we introduce Lewis.
Yeah, well, just a couple of things really. As we said earlier on, we can talk all night about this subject, can't we? And it just goes, all over the place, and it all comes back again. It's interesting. You said 8 years, Marta, because that takes us back to 2012. Which is when the shift started happening, but maybe that's just coincidence, or maybe there's no such thing as coincidences.
It's not. There is no.
And, we talk about the patriarchal rule and balance, and this is where we're heading. We're going back to balance. We're going back to the recognition from everybody that male and female are equal. We only have to look at the old ancient symbols, St. David's star, which is two triangles inverted, as above, so below. It also relates to the masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
The manufacture of religion 2,000 years ago to demonize women, shall we say, and make the patriarchal command the one and only law of the land. It's all disintegrating. We've got to be equal. We've got to respect and love each other and live in balance. And this is where it's coming. That time is coming back. There's all these stories about the Holy Grail and the search for the Grail. Well, the Grail symbolized the womb, and that was what the church was trying to hide. It was never lost or stolen. It was just the truth was hidden. And it's absolutely, and we have these societies, the Knights Templar and things like that, who are upholding that secret, trying to protect the real secret until the time was ready. So, everything is coming out. There are no secrets because everything will be happening now. And I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bring on the fifth.
Fantastic. I just want to thank Marta there for her words and truth, and it's just flowing beautifully this evening. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker. He's been part of our Collective Awakening talks before. He is the creator of the Inner Guru Centre in Liverpool. He's works with Campbell Medicine, and he's a facilitator of plant medicines, space holder, teacher, many things. So it's an absolute pleasure to introduce Lewis Powell.
Hello. Let me put some light on. It's not very light.
Hello.
It's doing here. Oh, 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I can see you nice and clear. So, welcome, Lewis.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've been listening so far. I'm waiting in the wings to join us. And there's a lot of truth's been spoke already this evening on collective awakening and breaking away from limitations. You know, what we see, we create. Our dreams, you know, can be absolute reality as well, and breaking away from all that we think is controlling us when it really isn't. So I don't know if there's anything you want to share this evening in particular, what been spoke about in the collective awakening.
Yeah, well, I just want to share first of all, like how I love how aligned we all are. Like everything that you've just been talking about, I'm experiencing right now. Everything that you've been sharing, me and Martha are so very in sync. We don't even have to speak that often, do we? But we just connect. You know, we're always tuned into what's going on, which is fantastic. And yeah, I just like to echo really like everything that you just said. You know, everything that you just said there just resonates so much, and that how when you're sharing this truth, it's nourishing to our soul, to our spirit. It's like it's just so uplifting just to sit here and hear that for this past hour hour or so that the talk's been on. It's been fantastic just to keep hearing it, just to keep remembering, keep reminding yourself. You know, this is what's really going to help this awakening is doing things like this, just to remind each other of what we already know. Like you say, we're remembering, and sometimes we just need reminding. Sometimes we just need that reminding, and doing things like this, we're constantly in connection, constantly sharing this truth. And that's what's going to lift the veil, the illusions. You know, illusions can't sustain themselves when they're faced with truth. Now, sometimes that brings discomfort. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's for us to have our illusion shattered is an uncomfortable process. I just wanted to share a little bit about a workshop that I've created. Like, it's just, so lately, so we're talking about before, like, you know, how we're like manifesting things like straight away. It's almost like as soon as something becomes a thought, it's happening now. Like, so this like 4D kind of thing is like, before we are close to it, we can just, as soon as we start thinking something, it's happening. All right. Yeah. So I just want to give an example, like this place in a guru, it was an idea like in May. It was an idea. And then 8 weeks later, it was creation. I've never done any kind of projects like this before. I've never built anything. Never done like hands-on work before, and we've created this like amazing space. Just like wow. I take a step back and I'm like, wow, how have I done that? How have I done that? I mean, like before, the last time we were even together, Martha, this wasn't even dreamed of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next thing is just here. It wasn't that long ago, was it? It doesn't seem that long ago. So this is how, you know, powerful we are as creators. Like when we really start to tap into our true power is when we can literally create anything that we want to. And it's like, that is the beauty of this third dimension. Like we're remembering that we can do this. This is what's happening now. We're starting to remember our true power, which is fantastic. So today, actually, I've been doing a workshop that's also been like a creation that was literally just an idea last week. And now I've held 2 of these workshops. So it was just before 2 weeks ago. There was an idea, and then this workshop was created. And funnily enough, linked to what this talk is about, the awakening, the collective awakening. The workshop's called The Age of Awakening. Create Your Own Destiny. And the title of it is, do you want to become a creator of your own reality? Unlock your unique gifts and abilities. And the way that we can do that, the way that we can unlock our true unique gifts and abilities is when we believe that we can. And like the simplicity around it is ridiculous. Like how simple reality is. Like, compared to what our mind thinks that it is. We can go if we let the mind try and rationalize what how things, if we let the mind have its way, it would create all kinds of different mazes and distractions away from the truth. But the truth is so simple. It is like that we can be anything that we want to be, and we can create anything that we want to create when we believe that we can. And this workshop that I've been that I've been doing today is so powerful. Like I've been like you mentioned, I've been doing like plant medicine ceremonies and medicine stuff for a while now. And actually now I'm finding that these workshops, which is just explaining this simplicity and helping people to go through this process, is if not more powerful, just as, or if not more powerful than medicine ceremonies.
Yeah.
And I don't just say that, but it's basically enabling us to look at the patterns that we've been holding. Like our ego is so attached to patterns. It's like the ego is like run in that way. It operates in a way where it is attached to patterns. And what the ego will do is it will try to confirm the belief that it already has, the self-limiting belief, by searching out and creating that same problem. So that keeps us stuck. We become addicted to the same patterns. So what this workshop's for is to be able to transform us from being unconscious creators. So this is like this terminology that I'm using now is we are unconscious. Most of us are unconscious creators. So what I mean by unconscious creators is that we unconsciously are creating our reality. So, I mean, if we were conscious creators, if we could consciously create it, we would create the most beautiful, wonderful, magnificent existence on this earth that we could possibly have, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what stops us doing that? It's our limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves that we can't. Okay. What's stopping us creating this golden era on earth? It's that belief that we can't. So we need to start to change our belief that we can and we are powerful. Now, it's not just as easy as saying that, because there is so many different layers of illusions and distortions that we hold that are sustained by illusionary beliefs. Okay, so I just want to give an example. Like, it's something that came up today is like this huge collective belief that we're not good enough or we're not worthy.
Yeah.
Now, there's so many different beliefs that hold that in place as well. So what we do in this workshop is go right into all of the little roots one by one, and then we change them. So like some people, they might think, just change it. What? Just change a belief that I've had about myself my entire life. I can't do that. So straight away, okay, what have you said there? I can't do that. I can't change that belief. So if you believe that you can't change it, what does that do? It keeps it there. If you don't believe that you can get away from that pattern, it keeps it there. And actually, it's really that simple. But we go, so in this workshop, we go straight into all of the different beliefs that we have. Like some of the beliefs that we have is like, I deserve to feel this way. Or I don't know who I am without this. I identify with this. This pattern is protecting me. This pattern is serving me in some way. So what we do in this workshop is we go into all of the different roots of the patterns that we're holding, which are all illusions, by the way. They're all, none of it is real. Because when we like literally characterize each one of these beliefs and imagine putting it in front of you like that. Okay, so tell me your story. What is it? Oh, well, if I let go of this pattern, I'm probably going to die. Okay. Well, that's a belief that it holds, but is there any truth to that? No. So what do? Change it. So instead of just saying you can't change, like I am not good enough to, I am good enough, just like that, You can't do that because there's so many other different little hooks, other different illusionary beliefs that are holding that in place. So this idea came to create this workshop, and we've done 2 of them now. And I honestly say it's so powerful. And even me just holding this workshop is changing. Is like I'm looking at my own beliefs like, oh my God, I do this. I like no. I also do this. I also feel not good enough, and I also, doubt myself and limit myself from being a powerful creator. So like I said, the purpose of it is to change ourselves from the belief that we are not powerful creators. And changing that from unconsciously creating these same situations and these, this negative world that we're in, because we have created that together, to we are limitless and powerful, and we can change the world into the most beautiful world we could ever imagine. And in order for us to do that, we have to believe it. We have to all believe that we can do that for us to create it. So it's like with this, like the power of manifestation now is so strong that we can literally create the most incredible lives for ourselves and for humanity. And it's happening. It is really happening. I completely echo what Marta said. It's fantastic. Such a fantastic time to be alive. We look around and like, if you look outside and see all the craziness, it's just like, whoa. But at the same time, I'm thinking, it's a great lesson. I mean, it's a lesson. There's a lot of people that are focusing too much on like, the negativity of it, which kind of like feeds it. But in a way, that's a kind of initiation for these people. Whereas we've already done that kind of work. We know that we don't have to do that now. Whereas some people have to like go through. It's like the ayahuasca ceremony is going into your loops. So people are going into the loops. They're like looking on the phone. Oh no, like oh, coronavirus, this, oh, like oh, the world's horrible, politicians, the celebrities, blah blah. And I still find myself doing that now. I have to admit, I still do it. I'm like, oh, I don't like the way that this is being done, and blah blah blah. We have to just catch ourselves doing it and like, okay, yeah, that's not helping, that's not serving me. I'm lowering my energy every time I even think about that. So yeah, I just love how like, we're all, in sync in where we're at in this level of awareness. And I just think that by doing these workshops, these talks, things like that, it's really going to get out there. But I actually have a vision for this workshop to be used in schools.
That'd be fantastic.
That's my vision is to get this workbook, because this workbook is like a kid's exercise. It's like got little pictures on it, and it's got like little like charts that like children could fill out with crayons, and it's just like mapping out your patterns. What is it that you believe about yourself that's self-limiting? So did you know that you can change that? From a child to know that they can change, that they don't feel good enough, they can change it like that. Literally, like children are just like sponges for everything. Instead of like putting the doubts and the fears on the children, we can, which is essentially the fundamentals of dark magic, we can throw seeds in of growth. Like, we can throw seeds in like, you are a powerful creator, you can create whatever you want to create, rather than saying, you need to do this to achieve this, and you need to, like creating limitations in children, creating these, this wisdom and these seeds of growth and light and truth. So that's my vision for this. So let's see what happens. I don't know how it's going to happen just yet. I put it out there. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm feeling it. I'm really, 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 really putting it out there, like to get this in some way, incorporating it so children can do it. Like the thing is as well, if you like the depth of the level of the work that we're doing here, like, I mean, I did a workshop today, and nearly everybody went through a transformation in a 1 day workshop. Some people found it difficult and chose to leave. Like, and that's okay, because sometimes to let go of an illusion that we've held on to our entire life can be almost like embarrassing in a way. Like, oh my God, like my entire life I've held on to this belief that's come from like a seed that was planted when I was a very young child. You know, so sometimes that can be difficult. But I think to get this in when people are when people are children, you know, to start doing these exercises when it's children, that's what's going to truly, you know, make the change. That's what I believe, anyway.
Well, yeah, that education system that certainly needs to change, and that conditioning that starts off, you know, and it needs to be broadened, and you know, that's the best place to be brought in. I know friends of ours, I can remember even years ago talking about meditation in schools. Why is it not happening? And it'd be really fantastic. I'm sure we can create it. We can all make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Like, why shouldn't children be taught about? Why shouldn't children be taught about what's illusions and what's truth?
Totally.
You know, the illusions of I'm not good enough, or you know, it's kind of enforced in schools. Like, you know, it's not taught. It's not. This is the fundamentals and the core of who we are as people. We need to know the truth. We don't want to be hiding from it. It's arising. The truth is coming to the surface, and it will get to a point where it will no longer be able to be hidden. The truth is so strong. So it breaks through the illusion. The illusion is just not even. It's artificial. It's not real. It's the substance or structures that have been created that aren't real. And as soon as these illusions are experienced, have seen the truth, sometimes we just have to have these illusions mirrored back to us. That's why I think it's really important to call each other out. You know, call each other out on each other's bullshit. Like, it's just like, you know, that's bullshit, and don't be afraid to say it to each other. You know, you know, come on.
I've used that a few times in the last 6 months.
Call each other out, be friends, noble friends to each other. Like, you know, this way you're being. It's illusionary. It's not real. It's not serving you. You know, this is what we need to do collectively. Is like stick together and not be afraid of triggering each other. It's like, come on. You know, I know it's a sensitive subject. I get that, but the vulnerability and that discomfort is where we grow. Yeah, and I think it should be something that's embraced and not run away from, because one of the patterns that we all, like a collective pattern that we all have, is the hiding and avoiding our problems. Yeah. Like you said, the addiction is addiction is the big one. It's like we avoid the discomfort by looking for something outside of ourselves, rather than seeing the discomfort as this discomfort is growth. This discomfort I'm feeling is me growing as a person.
Yeah.
It's like we don't judge our children when they're going through growing pains when they're growing up, do we? You know, if somebody's been to the gym and they've exercised and they worked out and they're a little bit sore and like achy because, you know, it's growing pains. Growth is, it doesn't have to be suffering, because suffering is when we hold on to that pain.
Yeah.
But that discomfort is just part of life. It's like giving birth. You know, I've never given birth, but I can imagine it's not the most comfortable experience, but at the same time, it's growth.
Yeah.
So I think just to like, you know, just encouraging each other not to like be afraid of discomfort, and like, you know, honoring it, accepting it, and seeing it as something that's not negative. It's something we're growing. When we're in a vulnerable place and we're feeling uncomfortable, that's where the light comes in. Yeah. If we can hold space for that part of us that feels uncomfortable, that's where the light comes in.
Absolutely, yeah. There seems a lot that's been mentioned, a lot of synchronicity between everybody tonight, and starting from Rick when you talked about the sun, and all you have to do is sort of open the curtains, you want to let it in. And I know Marta mentioned it, and it's that thing in the mind coming in saying, well, if you open them curtains, something bad might happen. Stay as it is. You'd be much safer. That's a bit risky. And it's a lot of the work, like you talked about with workshop, Lewis. It's making that choice now. And are you ready? Well, let's do it now. And there are those who might run away, you know, for the time. But I think that's the way the work has to be now. If you want to make that choice, here we are. Let's do it. And a lot of these processes, they're tough. But what waits is this beautiful, blissful feeling as well that comes with it. We're doing that work on yourself. So
exactly.
Completely resonate with everything. Yeah.
The illusion of that we can't do this, we can't do that. Like the illusion that it's too much. It's too. What's happened to me in the past? It's too much. No, it's not too much. Even it doesn't matter what it is that you've been through. You can change the belief around that. You can literally change your belief around what's happened in the past. What's happened in the past has happened in the past. It's only your mind that will create stories around it to make you avoid going there. Psychosis is things like that. It's only the mind trying to desperately try to avoid looking at trauma. It's a mind mechanism. It's not the trauma itself that's causing it. It's the mind's way of escaping it. It's the mind's way of like, what, you know, like creating stories that will, of anything that it possibly can create in its mind to avoid you just going to a very, very subtle place inside of you where all there is a child that needs to be loved.
Yeah.
A child that needs to be accepted. It needs to be heard. It needs to be able to express itself. And that's, you know, it's always the psychosis and the you know, the mental health issues that come from trauma is all around this. You know, it's a mechanism that the mind creates to avoid you looking at what's truly there, the truth. The mind will create all of these illusions so much that we can actually become fully delusional because it's a strategy that the mind has created to stop us from feeling the truth, the trauma underneath.
It's a strategy to survive.
Yeah, survival.
It's a strategy, that the girl, the baby has to do. He or she has to do yes or yes, otherwise he or she can die.
Yeah.
Because mother was not there when he was needing it, so he was feeling as a baby when you are not held by your mother and you're crying.
Yeah.
It's activating in your brain a sense of ancestry, a sense of okay, I cannot move, I cannot scream, I cannot run, I cannot fight, or fight, you know. So I'm gonna be eaten. I'm gonna be die. I'm gonna die. So this feeling of I am dying, I am gonna die, this to be frightened.
Yeah.
This is some of the impacts that we received, most of us, when we born or in the early stages of our childhood. So we transform all our cellular connections, our brain and everything just to survive. It's about to survive.
It is
to survive.
It's survival. That's what our ego's for, really. The ego is a mechanism for us to survive, but it's fueled by patterns that have been created. It's like these patterns are constantly playing out in our mind, but we can free ourselves from these, you know. And because the illusion is that this child is exposed to is this is happening to me all the time. All right, so at some point this child was feeling this way, and that was real. That was a real event for this child that's feeling inside of us. It's like, I have been abandoned. I am afraid of being alone. I am afraid of being rejected. And then we carry that through. We take it through. But the illusion is that that's still happening right now. And that's what sustains it. It's like right in this moment, it's not happening. So we can actually change that belief. We can change that belief to this is not happening anymore. And for that child that still feels like a child inside of us, is like, what? It's not happening anymore? Well, it sure feels like that. So then what we have to do is we have to literally reparent ourselves. We have to be the mother and the father that we always needed. Yeah. Now, the thing is as well, what's the beauty of how powerful we are as creators is, and I have actually done this exercise myself, is created the best version of parents that I could possibly imagine. And they live in my mind. Like this is, they live in my mind. And whenever this child's feeling fearful, the best parents come in like, it's okay. You know, you're allowed to feel fearful. You know, it's not what you're experiencing is not true. It's not happening right now. And then this is what we literally have to do. We have to keep reminding this child that believes the illusions that are around it, that it is safe, and it's okay, and it doesn't need to be afraid. It's not going to die. That's not going to happen anymore, little child. You know, we have to be there for ourselves and look after ourselves in that way. And I think that it's a really helpful way is to visualize like our wounds and our fear of like, you know, abandonment or rejection as a baby. Like you hold yourself, like hold this wound like a baby, and just constantly be there for it like you would with a baby. Like, you know, whenever it's crying, whenever it's like, oh, I'm afraid this is happening, you know, oh, this is going to happen again. This is going to happen again. And just, you can teach it. We have to teach it, but this, you know, it's okay. You know, that you feel this way, nothing's going to happen to you. And then also raising it as well and teaching it what you know, like teaching it, like, you know, we are creators of our own reality. You don't need to feel this way. You can, you know, and you can even ask it. We do this exercise where we asking this child, what would you like? What would you like? What would you like to create? Giving it that space to be able to visualize and create what it would like to create. And I think that's the key is to be able to change our beliefs around the illusions, and then also being able to reparent ourselves in a way where we can be there for ourselves, for that child that's feeling the effects of the illusions that we've been holding, the patterns. Is like essentially reparenting yourself. And that's not even saying that your parents weren't good parents, because they, you know, they probably just did their best that they could for you. But we need to give ourselves that now. I mean, even in going into adult, you know, we're sometimes as going into adulthood as well, we also reject and abandon that part of us, that childlike part. So I think a key to healing is to, I find that it's to give yourself, like, even if it's like, you know, 10, 20 minutes a day, it's just to listen to the child that's like feeling the illusions and let it speak, let it be heard. And I think that's the key to integration, for us to you know, truly become creators. We also have to look after the wounded child that we all carry.
Very Stephen, I don't know if you got any comments or anything you want to add, Stephen?
No, I just found you know, just everybody's talk, Lewis's talk, absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure everybody's watching. You know, I'm just listening intently to every word. You're all, you know, the beauty of this is that I don't know how everybody agrees. We don't all have the answers, and I'm just constantly learning, and it's just. I don't mean to sound that in a patronizing way, but I'm always learning from each other and evolving, and there's a desire in me, and I don't know where it comes from, this desire of wanting to be better, wanting to be my true self, and you know, I'm just thinking, oh, I want to do that workshop. You know, there is a desire, and I think there needs to be a desire somewhere to change, to do these things, to do work on you, and that's a huge passion of mine. You know, never give up, never surrender, always move forward.
Yeah, I want to add as well that, like, when we do this work, there's always a gift. Like, there's rewards for doing it. Like, when we replace like an illusionary pattern, because the patterns that the ego creates, it's all illusion, right? It's all not real. That's like the false self replacing a part of us that is our true self, which is our true gifts and abilities. So whenever we are able to separate ourselves from the pattern and then embrace that child like part of us that's being pushed away and replaced with this artificiality, when we remove the artificiality and bring back the true essence of ourselves, there's always a gift. There's a gift there, and it's gold. It's like that part of us has qualities. And do you know what I've found as well from my experience is that a lot of the time the fears that we have, or like the gift that we have, is like literally the opposite of what the fears that we have. So it's almost like the shadow side, and I completely understand that as well, because my view on reality now is like, in the past I've been like a victim to the illusion. Like the illusion has like I've been a victim to it. It's like it's been the bane of my life. But now I look back at it, I was like, the illusion is here to teach us. Yeah. Because how do we know how great we are if we can't see what we're not? So the illusion is there to remind us who we truly are. So if you look at the illusion for what it is, whatever that illusion is telling us is the opposite of what we truly are. It's actually, and when we can realize that, then the illusion goes and then the true self comes back. So if we can use the illusion as a tool and as a gift as well, like see the illusion as like, okay, wow, this is a mirror, a shadow. It's the opposite of what's actually real. We can look at it and go, wow, I believe that I'm not good enough. But actually, if you overcome something as big as that, which is I'm not good enough, then you look at yourself and think, wow, I am actually more than good enough. More than good enough. So like the bigger and stronger the illusion is, the bigger and stronger the true gift behind it, which is usually the opposite of what we believe about ourselves. So this is an observation that I've found working with clients in the workshops, is that people are like, no way, like I didn't really like, there's the child part of them is like, I'm really sensitive and I am caring and loving, and this person has like never really felt caring or loving in their entire life. They actually believe that they were horrible people, but underneath it there's like this child that's like, no, I'm actually really caring and loving, because we've replaced it with the illusion. We've took that on and believed the illusion to be true rather than the truth, which is usually the opposite, which is quite fascinating. So the illusion is there to teach us. there is no real bad. All right, the illusion that's out there on a big, this is like on a, if you're thinking of it from a higher perspective, an eagle's view, is that this the darkness and everything that's around us is just teaching us. It's just showing us. It's just showing us so we can remember ourselves. It's like if there's this part of this poem that I think I read to you guys last time we were there, was that if the infinite, the mortals like us, mortals long for the infinite touch. So like we as mortals, like we really want to have that connection with the infinite, but the infinite longs to know not so much. So we're a part of the infinite, a part of the all, experiencing a reality where we forget how powerful we are, to then come through that and then remember how powerful we are and remember how interconnected we are, and then it makes everything beautiful again. So part of that process of going through the dark ages back into the golden era again is so we can remember that the golden era is great, because if we were in a golden era for so long, eventually we'd probably get bored.
Yeah, that's very true.
God's got bored. He's put us back into this again, so we can forget ourselves or forget itself, because we're all it, and then slowly start to remember ourselves again, and then come through even greater and prouder and like an achievement that we've forgot ourselves and got so almost lost to the point of death and not knowing ourselves whatsoever, complete dark night of the soul. So then we have to go, like all the sages and prophets and saints of the ancient times have to go through this process of the dark night of the soul, which is, I've been through it myself, like absolute despair, the abyss, darkness, not seeing any light whatsoever, to then learning from the illusions and then receiving the light again, and then looking back at that as a lesson, and then coming through it even stronger and brighter. Yeah. So it's an initiation. It's a huge global initiation, even for the Earth, for the planet as well. The planet's like hanging on, and then but she's going to get through it as well, and then she will be even more proud and more glorious and more powerful as a creator than she ever was in the past. That's how I see it. Yeah. That's my vision. It rings true to me.
Yeah, really inspiring truth there, really. So, and you can feel it. You can feel it coming from that heart. Yeah, I'm feeling it here. So I'm just gonna go over to Rick. If you got any comments on what's been mentioned?
Yeah, I'm back. I lost you for a minute then, so I found a quid and put it in the meter. Just a couple of things there, Lewis. Yeah, going back to your workshops, I can fully resonate with you. I've had people on my Healer Life workshops that have walked out halfway through because they just can't facing inwards. So I'm with you on that one. I've experienced that, but I think the best thing I can bring out of this is when you say that you need to take it into schools, because yes, we form all our limiting beliefs in the first 6 or 7 years of our life.
Yeah.
So if we can change that early doors and teach those children that things are limitless, we can do what we want to do and destroy that illusion. Absolutely fantastic, because in 20 years' time, those kids are going to be the adults running the country.
Exactly.
So it's all going to help towards this shift to 5D, isn't it? The more we teach the youngsters, the more everybody awakens, the easier the shift is going to be. Thank you for your work. Yeah.
Exactly. We're the ones that are doing the hard work.
Oh, yeah.
The kids don't have to do that.
Don't forget
we're clearing the way. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Marta, at all.
I think with the kids is, for me, is fundamental. Your work is amazing, Luis. I love your work, and this is something that I used to do with my kids. I'm training them to be as much wild and free as they can be ever. I don't like to say that I'm training them, but yeah, it is to talk with them about the truth, because it's coming from you naturally, because you are living it. So with kids, absolutely, it could be so great that we can, do this type of stuff at schools. Also, we can do what we can do, but we can, Luis, great if you have the opportunity to do this in your center for kids. That could be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm doing that with my kids. I'm doing this with every single kid that is coming to this house, or that we are doing something together. Kids are looking at me. Kids are looking at me, and they don't look at me like, oh, this lady is crazy. No, they know, because they are closer to the truth than the adults, and they really say, wow, here there's something that I like. And they start to listen, and they want to know about my oracles, and they want to know about the images, and they tell me the stories, and they learn. My boy wants to learn how to read tarot. My boy.
Wow.
Yeah, he turned 6 2 months ago. So they are the ones. Of course, we have to work with we are to work with our brothers and sisters, but children, they are the ones. Another thing that I wanted to say about what Luis said, and all this, and about all this process, when you are passing through your dark night of the soul, it's just a remembering. Also, if you can pick up this remembering that in fact, it's not exactly that everything that had happened to you is personal. Is this not that much personal, what had happened to us, than we think that it is? Because in fact, when you see with perspective, you can see that you are working through your own experiences. Yes, that's right. You cannot say to the boy, no, your mother was there, and the boy, no, my mother was not here breastfeeding me. And I know, because I live it. Don't tell me that this is not personal. Yes, it is personal, but when you take distance, you can see that you choose everything. And the pain is not that much personal. The experience is personal. The experience, you choose how to experience it, and you are changing. You have more. You see that you have options when you go older, and now you can see the truth. And the truth is that you came here to live personal experiences, to to release and to spread and to deliver healing and understanding out there. So it's not that much personal, our experiences. Okay, in part they are personal, but the weight of the experience is not that much personal. It is for the rest of the collective. Even though you don't see it, the change. You don't see the change. But yes, when you are evolving, there are a kind of vibrations or particles of healing, of light, of understanding, of love that they are spreading, and they are connected with the rest of the humanity, but Pachamama and the rest of the cosmos and all the events around there. So our experiences are here for us to be the warriors to experience them, but for the rest of the trip, for the rest of the people around there. This is what I wanted to say. So it's not that when you see that it's not that much personal, there is no need to suffer that much.
Yeah.
To go into that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like when you and also when you shift that perspective of why me to that I'm doing this. This what I'm suffering for, what I'm holding is and me transforming this is for the benefit of everybody. It changes the mindset from being a victim to I'm a warrior and I'm doing this for everyone, because we are. Whenever we change our consciousness, whenever we have change these illusions about ourselves, and we can free ourselves from it, it ripples out, and other people also get that same healing awareness. Where there was confusion in the past, people have got more clarity. You see it now. You speak to people. There's more awareness going on now. You can speak more clearly about this stuff to people now than what you could do 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that because they've done the work on themselves? No. Probably haven't done the work on themselves. We've done. People who have led the way have done it, but they've created space for them now to see that themselves. Whereas in the past, if there was nobody on that level of awareness, not many people, they would have not probably been able to see that. It's the fact that we're doing the work, we are leading the way. So I honor anybody that's ready to face and to transform some of this stuff, because they are also claiming space for everybody. Because these templates that we're working through, like these, I'm not good enough templates, or I hate the masculine and the feminine sort of templates of perpetuating that division of blame towards the masculine, or the masculine dominate being suppressive to the feminine. All of these kind of ways of thinking are all like templates that are kind of like in a higher dimensional sort of governing all, and people are aligning with that through what they're learning. But so when we're chipping away and changing that within ourselves, these beliefs, it's changing the collective field as well. So then that has an impact on everybody. So actually, we might even get to a point where not everybody even has to do the work. We're kind of doing it and then clearing it, because it's like when I'm doing ayahuasca ceremonies, the work that's going on, people don't seem to understand the level of the work. Martha understands it, but Jesus Christ, it takes some energy, because the work that we're doing is so much bigger than what people are experiencing, receiving. We are literally with all of our effort and short and energy, transmuting stuff from collective. When we're doing this work shamanically, and people are purging, like you see, sometimes all men purging at the same time, all women purging. It's we really, really are facilitating collective purging. So so I honor anybody that decides that they want to delve into this work. You are doing it for everybody as well, and I think that gets us out of that victim mentality to the warrior mentality. Which is what's needed right now in this moment. We need warriors. We do.
Yeah,
We need people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna do. You know, this like the thing is though, if we could channel all of that energy that goes towards patriotism, you know, that passion and that drive. If you imagine you got the passion and drive of people that loved football. Imagine like, you know, like in a football stadium, that passion and drive that people have for the football team. Imagine if they could have that for doing that work on themselves, that drive and that passion. Like, come on, celebrating. You know, every time we bust through a block, we're like, yes. You know, like, I've done this for humanity. Go, go, you know, go. You know, it's like, you know, imagine we could channel that though into positive change. Like, it's just that's what's needed right now. I'm feeling is that people just getting on board with this. Like, yeah, I'm going to do this work. You know, I'm going to sign up for this work. I'm going to do this workshop. I'm going to really delve in and, like, you know, I want to change. I want to be the best person I can, not just for me, but for my family, for my friends, for everyone in humanity and for Earth. I'm going to do that. Imagine if everyone had that kind of, like, you know, drive. Woof. It's amazing because it's there. We've got it in us. It's just channeled in the wrong direction.
Totally. Absolutely. And I think that just brings us round to that collective awakening again. You know, doing it together, doing it for each other and for ourselves. Yeah, so truthful. Okay, well, thank you everybody so far. We're going to add our sixth speaker now. Okay, it's Maureen Cardoso. We're going over to Canada, and now we welcome Maureen. She's a spiritual healer and teacher. So we're going to welcome her in.
Hi, Maureen.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Maureen. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me back. Nice to be with everyone again.
Hi, Maureen.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh,
so I've really appreciated hearing everyone speaking, and you know, Marta, I certainly appreciate your work as a doula, as a mother who has moved through the experience of birthing and used doula. In my experiences, the ability to hold space for the birthing mother moving through the transition of bringing a soul into the world is, it's very remarkable. So thank you for that work there. And Lewis, I so appreciate, I loved how you said you were reflecting on your own work and saying, well, wait a minute, I do that. You know, this is how our own work can really help us in our own growth, and bringing it into the schools is a beautiful thing, helping, you know, our young people walk in greater light and come to know who they are in their own truth at an early age. So I hope that's great success for you, for sure. And Rick, my favorite thing that you said was, as a soul shifter, open up and let that sunlight in. I really resonate with that. So so thank you each for sharing what is your path of truth. Yeah.
Gotta be.
Lovely.
Absolutely. So is there anything you'd like to share with us this evening, Maureen?
Well, thanks. It's interesting because all week long, I gotta share my truth here. I've been feeling like a fish out of water in this conversation, and so as time as I'm listening, I realize, oh, this is why. Oh, this is why, because my walk on my own awakening and how I've come into what is serving my own purpose I don't have the language of the dimensions. Like that's just not where I've gone and I go. And it's almost like when you can't, it's not even something that there's a desire. Stephen, you spoke about desire, right? To retain it. But I certainly appreciate, you know, the levels of spirituality and the levels of awareness that we have. And for me, what is it that's awakening me? I would say really relates to how Chris had talked about opening ourselves up and receiving that light, that sunshine. So for me, I've come to know what is that sunshine, what is that light, you know, and who was it? I think it was Lewis also said something how we want to be in our truth and our essence. We want to be connected to the infinite, right? That infinite place within us, and that source of the infinite. And so for me, that translates into the language of the divine essence, divine love, staying connected to, Rick, you used it as the universal love that holds no conditioning over us. And, you know, through our lives patternings, we've learned to condition things. So we all carry this armor that inhibits the light of our soul from really shining through and being able to walk its purpose freely here on earth. So what I've learned to fall into is the grace of the divine and receiving that essence. It's a love that is available and free for the asking. It's always emanating around us, but we need to recognize that it's something that we can receive. And so in that, the grace of receiving this essence, for me, it's what is awakening my soul, and it's what is removing the illusion from my mind that of patternings and habits through my life's experiences. And as I receive this essence, it's like the substance of the creator, and it embellishes my soul. It embellishes all souls if there's a desire for it. And in that awakening for me is what has helped to break through the cracks of illusion, break through the armor that I carry around my own protectiveness through my own life's experiences, through my emotional pain. Chris, you had spoken about, you know, doing our own inner healing work. And for me, that is, you know, I use the terminology, okay, I'm a spiritual healer and spiritual teacher, but it is my own spirit, my own soul that I am healing and awakening this sort of teacher. And so for me, I don't necessarily use the language so much as remembering, but rather coming into a knowing. And through this essence of love that is there and available, and you receive it, you can feel the beauty, this warmth. When I walk and receive this and on a daily basis, and it sort of builds in me, though it imbues and awakens that wisdom that either, you know, we're all born with these truths, and it also adds to. So it's something that I'm really, really passionate about. I know that this is what my soul is here to do. And it's something so simple that everyone can just add it into their own daily practice. But it has to be for the asking, for the desire of it, right? And it's quite interesting what I've learned to discover within myself, a difference between soul desire and mindful material desire. And as I uncover or come into the knowings of my deeper soul desire, then there's way more harmony within my life, and the ability to see for the greater good, and for the blessings of humanity, and for that connection that, you know, as I would hope for myself, I would hope for each of you, I would hope for my community, I would hope for the world. So doing my own inner work is the thing that I feel for me that I have the greatest power in. And so what I teach a course and learning how to befriend your soul and come into that place of nurturance. And Lewis, you were speaking about how, you take that part of you, that, inner child that's yearning and in fear, and you nurture it. Well, this is for me how I walk with that, is that the duality of soul and mind that exists, right? The mindful insecurities, they rear up. And so for me, what has become a great, great comforter is the nurturance of love through this divine essence that I hold within the soul, to be able to nurture those insecurities within me and allow this really beautiful harmonization between soul and mind. Because as a mind, we're given a body to fulfill soulful purpose. If we don't have this relationship, if mind is constantly suppressing the wisdom, the purpose of the soul, then the soul, it's not going to be able to sort of fulfill what it has come to fulfill here on earth. So with this divine essence and this substance of the creator coming into me, it's given my soul its real strength and a sense of grit and ability to have that sort of inner strength to say, this direction, that direction. So it in the course, to befriend your soul with grace, and grace is this acronym for gratitude for the soul. Who are we? Like who truly are we? And learning to rely on the soul for its wisdom in walking through our life and making these decisions, because there's just so much wisdom within the soul. Acceptance. So that brings us into that the responsibility that we all have for our conditioning. What are our thoughts? What are our patterns? What is it that we are bringing into us? What are we living in that daily experience? And to stay with the commitment to continue to observe what are these true desires of soul that sit within me. And it always brings expansion of experience. And so I just continue to put myself through this cycle, this teaching of befriending the soul with grace, with the gratitude, with the reliance, acceptance, commitment, and expansion. And it's really helped to sort of grow and expand in my own inner awareness. Has creates a deep sense of compassion and connectivity, because it gives you, it's like the awakening the soul mind opposed to the material mind, right? And walking in this awakened state of desire to see, you can see the light of every soul, and this is what gravitates one to the other. And we also see the wounds that we all still carry, right? There's always going to be those things that we through our experiences trigger past things, and moving forward in that way. But so I don't have the language of the dimensions and the understanding of this. I'm so sorry. That's not I can't say I don't relate, because I see that each of you are very passionate within your own what you teach and what you share and what you carry. But yeah, for me, it is more of just really connecting to the soul, and receiving this divine essence. I mean, it's a daily practice that I do that helps me to continue to further in the process of coming to understand, the bigger picture. Who is the one that has created all of this, and moving through the dimensions of awakening. So
a lot of the questions we ask in our groups and such is, do you know who you are? Do you know that question? To ask that is important. Who am I? Who am I really? Yeah. So thank you very much for your words, Maureen. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to. Does anybody want to add any comments or anything they'd like to add to what Maureen said?
Can I just say something? I think really what stuck to my mind with your talk there, Maureen, was when you used the word commitment, and I think we can all resonate with that. It's a lifelong commitment. I've come across a lot of people that start this work and they think, right, it's like going back to the old days. You used to go to church once a week, say your prayers, and Father, I've sinned, and then they live back their life. You can't be like that anymore. We have to live the practice every day and commit ourselves to that lifelong. It's not going to be easy, but it will become easy the more that you do it. The more you have these positive affirmations, make those changes. And really, another thing about setting your intentions. I think with any kind of work, I talked about desire earlier on, but I think I've really come to learn that, about setting your intention. When people come into this work, it's not going to be easy. You're going to be delving into really deep stuff. And set your commitments. It's a huge dedication, and it's like what Lewis said, the rewards are far greater than being stuck into that illusion. Oh God, am I going to do the work? And you come across these people that are very negative. They're still stuck in that illusion. But then you have to remember that I was there 10 years ago. I was like that. So you just got to be very patient. But that really stuck to my mind about commitment. It's a lifelong commitment. You've got to do it every day, like meditation.
And belief. You got to believe that you can.
Absolutely.
Never doubt that is, always believe that you can. And then, back in the day, it was more that I don't really like to use that term faith so much because it's so like attached to dogmatic things.
Yeah.
But faith is that trust and belief that you can and we are, able to do things. We need to have that. We all have that deep inside of us. Our spirit is just, eternally faithful.
And Lewis, thank you for saying that word, because with this, the divine essence, what it does awaken is faith, and faith is that inner knowledge, right? So it's not so much that we have to mindfully have these understandings, but soulfully, right? We're soul, right? And what is it that connects our soul to the great oversoul? And even to use the word prayer, because it can be kind of dogmatic, but when you are actually offering and uttering a soulful prayer, a soulful yearning, a soulful desire to open and receive that sunlight of God's essence, there is always a response. When any soul heartfelt prayer, offering, yearning is given, is offered, there's always a response. So this is it's something that sometimes in the language that how we share, we have our circles of light, it can feel a little bit dogmatic in a way for some people on their spiritual walk. But when you come to experience what is this essence, and that what this life is about, is the experience of of our knowing, of our understandings, and of our life. So through the experience of being touched by that sunlight of the infinite, you cannot deny it. And so this is what soul truly longs for. So as that occurs, the soul's desire begins to truly awaken, and it wants more. So it's kind of like, whoa, the soul is taking, the true you is really showing you this, please, this, more of this, please, right? Keep opening those curtains. Keep doing that. I like that, right?
This is our inner guru. This is like the place. I named the center that I'm in now. This creation that was the inner guru, because we're at an age now where we're being guided more and more and more and more to listen to the inner teacher. That's there, like, it's showing us the way. It's desperately like crying out to be heard. It knows the answers. It knows what to do to put us in the right position to the best for us. And also, like, we're looking outside. If we're at a point now where like the universe or a creator is like, right, okay, enough of these illusionary idols now. Now is the time. The true age of awakening is when we're truly able to tap into that inner guru or inner teacher. Because the teachers that we once had faith in the past now are all failing us. Like, oh well. I can't
so here we sit. Some of us is saying, this is why I don't necessarily like the word teacher, because so I'm my own teacher, right? Because this year 2020, if we think about it, it's about clear vision, right? The sight of is clear vision. So many things in my own experience of my own life where for one reason or another, I've been standing kind of learning something through another. And we all have people that are in our auric space and field and atmosphere that bring forth that what we sort of can need to learn. But to take and receive that teaching and not rely upon that person to be on a pedestal or guide us for all kind of eternity in our life, right? Awakening and learning to rely on this teacher and come into that wisdom and come into that blessing of knowledge. Knowledge is a really, really powerful part of faith and of humility, right? To know, okay, we're always going to be learning and growing and having that grace for others on their path as well.
I just mentioned something as well, which is really interesting, because there's a song, I don't know if people have heard it before. I think it's called Oceans as well, and I can't remember who sings it. And there is these repetitive words at the end of the song, and it really stuck to me, because over the years when we use the word God, there's a lot of negative connotations behind it, because religion has tainted it, in my opinion. And on the words it says, if you want to know God, know yourself. If you want to love God, love yourself. Learn to love yourself. So everything is about self. We are gods. We are light. We are beings of light. If you want to know God, know you. If you want to learn, if you want to see God, see yourself. So everything is about a mirror within. And I think that's really, and another interesting thing when you're on about speaking to God in prayer. Now, years ago, it's so accepted that we speak to God or we pray to spirit or whatever. But if he speaks back to us, they think we're mad. So well, it's not mad speaking to him, but if he speaks back to us, we're mad, So
it's interesting you say that about about the God thing, because if you think about like the core of religion, it's like this good and evil kind of thing, like God and the devil, or like Satan and the light, or the it's like the ego is just the representation of that, But it's not. It's the fact that we demonized the ego that's created all of this distortion as well. It's like the ego is literally just there to protect us. It's the opposite of the true self. It's the false self. But it's like just not. I think that like that demonization of the religions and the dogma that's created as literally created devils and you know, dark lower beings, because we've demonized it all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's the difference really between spirituality, which in my opinion is your relationship with that higher power, whatever you want to call it, whether it's God or the universe, and religion, which is a man-made thing to control us, you know. And we've got to realize that religion has made up the things about the devil and about hell and things like that. I mean, obviously there's a duality.
Yeah,
we've got to realize that it was, you know, religion was constructed to control us.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
different.
free will at the end of the day.
It's a relationship with God.
It's the duality. It's exactly what you said. It's free will, and the fact that we've demonized that side of it has created the hell. You know, like it's just that, you know, the illusion is there, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. We've demonized it.
Yeah,
but then it's kicked back and took control of us. It's like,
we take control back, don't we?
Yeah, you can't fight it. You can't fight the devil, or you can't fight the illusion. You just have to acknowledge and see that it's there. It's always there.
It's not about fighting. It's about accepting that it is an illusion, and then that changes the way you see things. And
exactly. That's it.
Change the way we see things. The things we see change, don't they? So.
Exactly.
So simple. So simple.
Yeah. And Stephen, you were just talking about commitment before, and seeing things as a commitment to your own future and your own development. And I'd also like to add that let's look at it as an investment as well, and we'll get a return for that work we put in. We will get a return from it. So I'll add that little bit into your comments.
And sorry, the commitment sits within the acronym of GRACE, right? So I'm
coming to that.
I'm committing. I'm committing to it.
Thank you.
It's my acronym.
I just want to say about that acronym of GRACE. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I made a note of it here, and it could actually be a miniature handbook for spiritual living, couldn't it? Just those 5 letters and remembering what they stand for.
I agree. Absolutely.
That's my gift.
Don't take my idea. It's already in the works. Don't take it.
I may spread the word, but I won't steal it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Well, I just think it's been again a really special evening of sharing truths, and it's just amazing how effortless this all is. Yeah. Coming together and everybody speaking the truth, and there's a lot of happiness in it and joy in speaking about things. And we're not speaking about things that are perfect. We're speaking about distortions, illusions, working through things, and so it's a special thing to be. And I've enjoyed just listening to everybody tonight. Really resonate with all of it. But I'm just going to do, just coming up to about 10 o'clock, I think, here now. And so I'm just going to come to everybody just for any sort of closing comments or anything they want to leave everybody with. So I'm going to actually come to Stephen first and then work my way around.
Just there's a lady there, she's on about the song, and it's called Nico and the Medicine for the People, I think. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Maybe post a link.
Yeah, I'll post a link. Yeah, it's
on
called
the
Oceans. Yeah, it's called Oceans as well. So that's the song. But I just, we never stop learning. We're always growing. Question things. Invest in you. Commit yourself. Dedicate yourself. Keep moving forward. Be hopeful. Don't let the fear in, and just keep smiling. Don't let anybody get you down. Don't let anybody grind you down. Just shine your light. Be the light. Speak your light. So I'd like to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Marta?
I want to express my gratitude here. It has been great. I feel uplifted also. I knew it, that was to be like flowing. That's why I didn't even think about what to say. And I know it's working. I know how it feels, the feeling of when something is working. So good, this family. I love all of you. We already knew, right, that we were connected.
Yeah, already there.
Yeah, and also I wanted to. Oh, please count on me next time also.
Yeah, absolutely.
My pleasure. If I hear you have another meeting like this to talk about medicine, power plants of power.
Yeah, we're hoping our next collective talk will be on plant medicines. Yeah.
Yeah, I will adore. Yeah.
You ready for that one?
Yeah. And the other thing I would like to say, same to the people, same things as you have been saying, because it's just amazing. It's just the right information for everyone to receive. Completely safe, I can say, and it's true. And also, I would like to share that I'm working with my sessions, private sessions, also connecting with the guides, connecting with higher self, connecting with source. Sometimes I'm all the time connected with the entity of the Divine Mother that I am embodying. So I'm connected with the Divine Mama. So everything that is coming from her voice is beautiful and is for our own healing and our own growth. And so I used to work in several with whatever that the person wants to work within. But it is beautiful how there are happening beautiful activations in people in the direction of gaining strength in order to fulfill their own purpose. So I'm working with purpose and mission, and I'm bringing information from what we can call back, like past lives, which is not past, and future. So your guides are going to bring information, your own brothers and sisters, your own higher self, Akashic fields also can talk, and it is beautiful. I can help with that too. And I'm working through the distance. I'm working with people all over the world. So I'm here to serve you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the connection. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
So I'm going to come to Lewis next.
So I just like to offer as well, if anybody feels like called to do the workshop that I've been talking about, I'm also doing this online as well, like a 4-week course. It's quite simple. Creating making everything become quite simple and less problematic. That's what it's about: busting illusions, becoming creators, and tapping into that creative ability. So if anybody feels that that they feel drawn towards doing this course, like, I really just want to get it out there. I want to share the knowledge. So a message for the people would be to honor themselves, honor your own truth, honor what it is that your soul is calling out to do. We all have a purpose, some kind of purpose that involves using our gifts that we all have. So I also want to help people to tap into what their gifts may be. And also, if you know what your gifts are, keep sharing it, keep spreading it. And and also protecting your truth as well, is that don't let the illusions around you affect your truth. It will bring you down. It will bring your energy low. It will make you more susceptible to illness. One thing that we don't talk about so much is our spiritual immune system, which is the truth. The truth. The truth is that we have a very, 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 very strong immune system. Like when we believe that we have as well, and when we're in our truth and we're not buying into the illusions around things. I understand this through my own experiences with magic and how that can be used either way, sometimes not for good. And that can make people very ill. If you're took on an illusion from somebody else, it can make you really poorly. So try not to get too involved in the illusions that are around you, because it will make you poorly. It will lower your energy, make you more susceptible to illnesses. So just to really stand in your truth and trust that inner voice, that inner knowing that's like saying there's something not right about what I'm observing on the news or on the TV or on whatever, you know. If something inside of you, there's a little voice that's saying something's not right here, trust that. Trust that. Not to be fearful, but to be, okay, this doesn't feel right. Or what this person's saying to me or what these people are saying doesn't feel right. If you feel that, then don't go with that. If it doesn't resonate, then, you know, let it go. And that's just a practice that's really helpful for people to protect themselves. It's something that I think that we could probably do a whole talk on, is protecting yourself. From that. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, maybe a good subject to do for another talk. Yeah. Really good, Dan. So thank you for sharing that, Lewis, and for the connection once again. And would you be able to post a link for your centre or the workshop on the comments? And just if anybody's interested, I know any of our speakers would be happy to connect with you and the individual work they do. So
everybody, anybody, Marta, Rick, Maureen, everybody, please. There's loads of people that have watched tonight, and allow people to connect with you. That's what it's about connecting, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
And it's great when you take that. Some people might have a fear sometimes of connecting or just sending that message, and when you put that aside, you can make some really great connections. I mean, it was only a week ago that I spoke to Marta. I just sent her that message straight away within an hour. This was all organised and sorted, and it's great. It's illuminating, when you make those connections. So go for it. Anybody that's listening, go for it. So Rick, how's your coffee held up, by the way? Your coffee pot is empty now.
I'm on the water as well, so we're nearly there. Just a couple of things, just to wrap it up nicely. Going back to what Stephen said earlier on about education and learning, I'm touching on what Lewis has just said now. If something doesn't resonate with you, it's not your truth, and we do have that truth inside us, and we need to learn to listen to ourselves and turn our thoughts and our attention inwards until we find our own truth, because what's right for us isn't right for somebody else, and vice versa. And again, education and learning, we talked about that, and there's a reason that we have two ears and one mouth, and that's so we can listen twice as hard as we speak. But we'll get that away, we'll all go our own way, won't we? I'll leave you that little gem. I will have some more courses and things coming up, and I'll put them up on Facebook. So if anybody is interested in that, we miss out, and I'll put the link into Purple Mountain as well. So again, thank you for the time. Lovely to meet you again, Maureen and Lewis. And great to meet you, Marta. And I'll send you my love to all and to everybody watching. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick. Thanks for sharing this evening. Thank you for the connection again. It's always a pleasure. So Maureen.
Yeah, thank you. It was really lovely to be with you again and to meet you, Marta and Chris and Stephen. It's always a great joy to be with you in your light. We always have a nice time together. And just to touch, like how Rick says, to educate yourself. For me, a guide received a message yesterday or a couple of days ago saying, like, enter into the classroom of your soul, right? Like, let this be, your classroom. And I said, okay, I like that, right? So, so right now I'm currently offering the Befriend Your Soul workshop. I'm running it this time through as a 10-week course, but in January I'm going to run it as a 5-week course. So I'll post a link to that, and we offer circles of light. So if people are interested in coming into that, I can also share a link for that as well. So
yeah, it's a lovely group that to join on a Sunday evening. Just if you want to sit with the energy and meditate, it's a lovely group.
Yeah. You've been a couple of times. It's always nice to have you.
I've been in a couple of
and
times.
I'm really looking forward at whatever time I can come back to England and to be with you in person. I feel I would love to meet you in person, Rick and Lewis and Marta. You're in Spain, so maybe that's going to be a little bit challenging, but yeah. So thank you.
We can make it happen.
We can make it happen.
We have a big conference next year, and we'll meet.
It's funny you were saying that, because I think it was as everybody was speaking earlier, I was getting this like dream in my head of us all being together in person and doing it in person, and like a collective. Wow.
There's a big field in front of my house. There's a big field in front of my house. We could just put a big marquee up and be a social distance gathering, couldn't we?
Well, Martha's actually joined us before. Me and Martha have worked together in ceremonies before.
Oh wow, amazing!
But yeah, me and Martha have worked together. We do work together, and Martha comes over and helps me and we do retreats together.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do something again.
Yeah, that'll be amazing to all meet up. Yeah. Let's manifest it.
I think for me, Spain might be the preference of going over to there, though.
Yeah, Spain sounds good.
We'll come to you. So it's really special. I'd just like to thank everybody for taking part. Marta, Lewis, Rick, Maureen, and Stephen, of course. And just to let you know as well, on the Purple Mountain, we're still running retreats. We're still open, and we'll continue to do lots of talks like this, because as was mentioned, it's really important. It's important to get it out there. It's a good connection for everybody that's listening. So I'd just like to thank everybody that's watched us this evening, whatever part of the world you're in, and we just want to send tons of love, and I just want to give my love to all of our speakers, and thank you for being here and for us all sharing this evening. Thank you.
Goodbye.
And that will say good night. Walk in your truth, everyone. Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.